The Jason Gregor Show.
So that helped the Braves win all those games. Deep to right here. It did. It's another one for Acuna.
On Sports 1440.
Up the middle, base hit. Here he comes. Sogard rounding to throw home. And the Sox win again. What a wild ride on a roller coaster tonight.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Center field, caught. But he clears.
Well, a little extra brass bonanza for you on a positive Friday. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. As always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's one-stop shop for casino, sports, live dealer, lottery, instants, and more. Check it out, PlayAlberta.ca. And, of course, Lotto Max tonight, $25 million and 25 prizes of $100,000. Get your tickets, PlayAlberta.ca. While you're there, you can also check out the Jason Gregor Show odds boost specials and more. Gregor's picks, Halley's picks, and more. We got a loaded show for you today. Dave Naylor is going to join us, talk a little CFL, a lot of football in hour number one. We'll CFL, then we'll go to Nick Hamilton. We're going to talk about the Rams. Suddenly, everybody's like, oh, the Rams, they're going to win. The Rams are going to win everything. Aaron Donald's coming back. I guess he's, he hasn't officially signed yet. Has he, Connor Halley?
Not official. He's got the workout with the team.
Right.
It seems inevitable, though.
Yeah, okay. So that's fair. It's, you know what? He's obviously got the itch again. Sometimes you don't know what you have till it's gone. And he obviously loves football, and he retired young, and people talked about this last year. They thought he'd come back, and so we'll see what he has left. If he's only like even 90%, 80% of what he was, he'll still a pretty good player. James Nickel will join us. The New Jersey Devils. Is there a team in the NHL the last few years you would look at and say, for all the expectations that they had on the team, it didn't really come to fruition, right? Like if you look at New Jersey kind of on a year-by-year basis, it hasn't really been kind of what they would like. They kind of leave you wanting more, right? They had that one good year in 2023 with 112 points, but 24, 81, 25, 91, and then 87 last year. So now Jack Hughes' health is a factor for sure. But what else? So we'll talk about the Devils. We'll continue our offseason. We got some the round table at 4 o'clock. Eddie Steele will be by. We'll set up the Elks and the Alouettes. And last night, it came to an end. Vernon Adams' streak of 21 consecutive touchdowns without an interception, and it didn't throw a TD pass. Now, he finished the game with his second interception. So, that'll go down as an interception. Obviously, it's late in the game. It's kind of a Hail Mary one. But, and hey, still a tough one to give up. It's a close game. But considering they put up 30 points and he only had like 160 passing yards, it was kind of a wild game for the offense of Calgary. They had to settle for a lot of field goals in that game. Spec will be by. LT will join us. As always, we'll get your thoughts. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. And right off the hop, I lost a friendly wager because I was asked, how long would it take to get a text asking about this? And it took 4 minutes. It was actually an email. So I thought it'd be quicker, to be honest. But so, hey, you know what? I'm pleasantly surprised. So I'll read this one. Hey, Gregor, I don't know if you've been on X today or not, but did you see the interaction with Kane and Speck? Can you shed any light on that? People love the gossip, don't they? Well, here's and honestly, I didn't know about this till about 1:30 because I haven't been on social media that much. But Kane alleged that he had a conversation with Speck where he was crying. So I know exactly when that happened. Speck had written an article that he thought Evander Kane's time in Edmonton was coming to an end. People were kind of tired of his act. Kane wanted to have a one-on-one meeting with him. He did. The one-on-one meeting didn't last very long. Was fairly short-lived. My understanding is, ended up with a bleep you back and forth. And that was it. There were no tears shed. I think maybe Kane thought he would intimidate him or not. Hey, I can tell you lots of writers have had players request to have a one-on-one, clear the air. Sometimes it's a bleep you. Other times it's just sharing their sides of the story. And that's how it goes. So I wouldn't, don't believe everything you read on the internet. That's all I'll say. So wish Evander all the best in his career. Do I think it'll be in the NHL again? Probably not. So, and he'll be the one to ask why. It was never about talent. He's always had enough talent to be in the NHL. That's never the issue at all. Never the issue at all. So, now this text is funny because I'm guessing Norm might have seen me there. Hey, Gregor, it's Positive Friday, and I'm trying to find a positive and why it takes so long to get a table at Joey's Mayfield. Dude, I don't understand it. We went there for lunch today, and I have never seen a place have a lineup when there's virtually no one in there. Like you get there at 11:30 for lunch, it's empty, and they come up and everybody's got their iPad. Now you got to put the name down. I'm like, why can't you just have one person come to the door? Hey, table for two? Great. Here we go. Walk them to the table. Next person up. There we go. You've got 5 people standing around. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. 7 minutes from the time you entered a restaurant to go sit down, and it's not 6 o'clock. It's not like there's no empty tables. They're all empty. That might be the worst format I've ever seen, Connor Halley. I don't know if you've ever been there for lunch. Probably not because you're hosting your show. So it's I honestly can say I've never seen that occur in my life before. I'm like, why are we all standing here? There's all the tables there. Just go see people. I didn't get it. I don't understand it.
Was it busy?
Well, no, at 11:30, it wasn't that busy. No, there was literally 100, like you have the people standing at the wait. Hi, can we get your name? Got to get you. And then they got to put it into an iPad. Why? That's what I understand. Why? Hi, table for 2. Yes, here we go. Take them over there. Take them over there. It's pretty simple. I don't really understand. Right. And I get worked in a restaurant. You want to set it out. So you have some people in certain sections and you have servers and everybody's, but this isn't hard. It's pretty simple. Okay. Sherry's taking that table of 4 over here. I'll take this table of 2 over here. Now we come back and you just see the room fill up. It didn't matter. Like got to eat. But honestly, I've never seen it with that many empty tables and you had like 20 people in line. For what? It's wild, man. It is absolutely wild. I don't get it. I don't know how anybody who manages that thinks that is an effective system. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Anywho, did you guys watch the CFL game last night, Conmans?
Yeah, we got a new TV. So we upgraded. I'll say this. So 4K watching the CFL, the interviews, I'm seeing the beads of sweat on players' faces. It was incredible. Football game was pretty fun too. But good game.
Yeah, there was lots of people sweating last night. It was pretty hot in some places. So no, it was an entertaining game. And you know what? The CFL, man, I'm telling you, like it's 60 points every game now just seems to be the norm. It's wild. And I think it's something that we haven't talked about. And, I was watching the game last night and in 2 different occasions for Chad Kelly, I'm like, look at how he's changing. They're changing again. And with the 35-second play clock, Cons, teams are getting in and out of their huddles quicker. So when they get to the line of scrimmage, they're reading the play more. We'll talk to Eddie about this, but I wonder how much that's having to do with it right now because teams are having more success moving the ball up and down the field. Now, field goal kickers are more accurate, right? I think there's lots of things that are better, but I do wonder how much of an advantage that is. I'll have to ask Cody and some of the other quarterbacks. Like for veteran quarterbacks, I think it's a big advantage, right? You can see Cody Fajardo's seen every defense that you can. So as a defender, I'll ask Eddie, do you have to disguise things more now moving forward with them having more time to get. Now, the teams that are effective who come to the line of scrimmage sooner, I think they have a big advantage because now you have longer to read what the defense looks like they're doing in formation. And that's fantastic. A lot of people thought the 35-second clock would be worse. Wrong. We've seen an increase in offense. We've seen an increase in plays being called. It's fantastic. Like, I'm telling you, man, this has been the most entertaining CFL season that I can think of in a long time. And there's big play. Like, we're still seeing big defensive plays. We're just seeing a lot of big plays offensively. I like it.
And let's be realistic, Gregor. That's how you get fans in the seat, right?
Yes.
If you want to see offense, you want to occasionally, sure, a defensive shutdown game is fun to see for the football diehards, the sickos out there. But the casual fan wants points. We want to see big plays. We want touchdowns. They want the fireworks, the music that go along with it. It's fun to see the offense. And you're right. Like, you just scroll through the weeks here. Like, we're seeing at least one team putting up 30, and if not, both teams north of 25. That's great for the CFL.
It is. So I'm looking forward to that game tomorrow afternoon, man. Tonight you got Ottawa and Saskatchewan. There hasn't been many stinkers. This one might be one. Ottawa just can't find a way to win. They're in some of their games, but not always, right? If you look at them, they've been outscored significantly this year by the two. I think it's like 81 points, right? So I'm not holding my breath. Now, Saskatchewan has lots of injuries to the offensive line. Receiving core. So that maybe could slow them down a bit, but we saw this last year with them. Didn't really matter. And then Saturday is a doubleheader. You have Edmonton, Montreal, 1:00 Edmonton time, and then Hamilton and BC at 5:00. And Nathan Rourke will return behind center for BC. So, hey, Cons, here's an easy tip. Take the BC Lions in that game. Big time. Big time. I think with Nathan Rourke back, the BC Lions, it might be a little bit of a spank job in that game. So
yeah, I think we've seen them come in at 7-point favorites. I'd say take them to cover as well at home.
Oh God, yes.
As long as he stays healthy, and if not, you just hand the ball off to Xander Horvath or anyone else in that team. Because when they want to, man, that team can run the football.
Yes, I agree. They can for sure. So I don't mind that game at all. Edmonton is a slight underdog in Montreal. So I think this is a tough game for the Elks. Now, good news, as we said yesterday, but it's confirmed Nick Anderson will play. David Beard will play. All the other guys who are limited, they're all going to play on the defensive side. DeBlanco and Kenny Logan Jr., they're all in. So, but Beard coming back in, I think this will be the boost because very quietly, man, the Elks rushing game has done a whole lot of nothing for multiple weeks. And I think Beard's a part of it. He's not the only reason, but he's a part of it. Him coming back will help them, but their running game's got to get going here. They need to get Justin Rankin more involved. And I'd like to see, I think Rankin at times is not hitting the hole. He's trying to read the play sometimes rather than just hit it with his burst. Get 5 or 6 yards. You don't always have to wait to hole to see if the big hole is going to open up. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's what I've seen a little bit from him lately.
Incredibly patient runner, right? That's kind of when you see a lot of the times he's patient. He finds that hole, hits it, makes one guy miss. But you're right, Gregor. I was talking to Eddie Steele about this last week. Since that 107-yard game against Ottawa, we haven't seen much. 9 yards, 39 yards, 28 yards. And in 2 of those games, less than 10 carries. So I'm a big, I've been saying it for a while. I've been banging the drum. I need him to get north of 10 to 15 carries, I think. Keep the defense honest, at least the threat of a running game. But you got to think it'll eventually come because the first 3 games, this guy was ridiculous. He just hasn't found it since. And maybe with the health in the offensive line, that helps.
Well, yeah, I think that'll help for sure. So Boyko will be the right guard. You'll have Beard at center and O'Donnell at the left guard. Obviously, the tackles remain the same for the green and gold. We'll take a quick break. Dave Naylor is going to join us next. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Albertans love to debate the best way to enjoy summer sports.
No. Playing on the field is the best, man.
No way. Watching from the sidelines, way more relaxing.
You're both crazy. Checking out the game from the Bro Zone is where it's at.
But there's one thing every sports fan agrees on.
Wilhock Beef Jerky.
Wherever you catch the action, load up on Alberta's best beef jerky.
Wilhock Beef Jerky, because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Your weekend hotspot is at On the Rocks.
Party with Edmonton's best bands every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And we got them all.
From the Barkells to Tallboy, Radioactive, Curves, The Brute Squad, Morningwood, Roxilla, Punch Buggy, and more.
Plus, the guy who keeps the party going every weekend. DJ Kenny K on the ones and twos, live.
Get ready to have a good time this weekend.
Your bar, your party. You're On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
At Papa John's, we know it's not just a pizza. It's a family gathering. A happy birthday, a special celebration, or just a sigh of relief at the end of a busy day. For a limited time, get large one-topping pizzas for only $14.99 each on original, thin, or New York-style crust. Use promo code L1499 at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Get yours today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Craving a dining experience that rises above the rest? Head to Summit Restaurant in the Silent Ice Center, just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Savor exceptional house-made pizza, delectable entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails in a stylish, modern atmosphere. Perfect for a casual meal or a special night out. Summit offers a refined experience where every bite and sip reflects our dedication to quality. Elevate your dining experience. Make Summit Restaurant your destination tonight.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit, no credit? We got you. Text CHECK to 780-777-7777. That's CHECK to 780 all 7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
Take the pain out of airport parking with Park to Go. Your first-class parking experience. Book self-serve and valet parking and save up to 30%. Book now with promo code RADIO. That's RADIO.
Photographers, start your cameras. Vision Credit Union's annual photo contest is back. We're asking you to show us the people, places, and moments that made you glad you chose this rural life. Maybe it's the view from your farm, a walk down Main Street, neighbors pitching in, a weekend at the rodeo, or a sunset down a back road. Share your photo to show why life in rural Alberta is a choice worth celebrating. Enter and vote at whatsyourshare.ca.
Ready to upgrade your ride this spring? Come on down to the Golf Cart People. They're a family-owned and operated business that's been serving the community since '97. Whether you're looking for a brand new or quality pre-owned cart, a rental for a special event, they do that too. The Golf Cart People have a huge selection of parts and accessories, and their expert service team is here to keep you rolling. The Golf Cart People, your one-stop shop for everything golf cart. Visit golfcartpeople.com.
Not sure where to turn? Remember 211, the number to contact for mental health, addiction, and community supports. It's free, confidential, and available 24/7. 211 Alberta. One number, countless connections.
A message from the Government of Alberta.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Portions of this hour brought to you by UL. Helping you finish your electrical project is their goal. From hot lights to electrical panels, the gear you need is at ul.ca or in person at one of their Edmonton area locations. ul.ca, your partners in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.221 as we continue on. Pause of Friday, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having a lovely Friday, a busy weekend, of course, in sports. You got MLB continuing on, another week in the CFL game tonight, 2 games tomorrow. If you're a fan of hockey, you got the itch. Well, the Hlinka Gretzky getting down to the nitty-gritty in that tournament. So you can check that out this weekend as well. Tickets available. You also, if you are Prairie Junior Football, the Wildcats got their home opener on Sunday, I think it is. So lots of sports, man. There's never a shortage. That's why we love sports shows, because rarely is there a shortage of things to discuss on the sporting front. As always, we'll get some of your texts, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We're going to get to Dave Naylor now. We get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Spruce Grove Saints. And, hey, we're into August. For many of you, all of a sudden, kids got to get back on the ice. Well, you got camps from the 24th to the 28th. Just before training camp, getting back up to speed, U9, U11, U13, U15, and 16. Check it out, sgsaints.ca. Sign up for a great camp. As we are joined now from the CFL on TSN, Dave Naylor joins us. Dave, welcome to the show, my man. How you doing?
Not too bad. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, Dave, the streak came to an end last night. One of the most impressive streak ever in CFL history for Vernon Adams with 21 consecutive touchdowns before throwing an interception. It was kind of a weird night last night. When you look at the score, it's 63 points. You're thinking, wow, but Calgary didn't have a ton of offense overall. Like 159 passing yards, only 12 completions. Mills had 79 yards rushing. Adams did add 25, but basically 250 total yards of offense, and they still scored 30 points.
And Calgary's kind of been that, and as much as I think Vernon Adams, rightly so, is getting tons of attention for the way he's played this year. And the fact that we have all these quarterbacks around the league throwing for, 350, 400, even at a 500-yard game this year, I kind of sometimes got lulled into thinking, yeah, Vernon Adams is part of that. You know what I mean? But he's not. He hasn't been the big yardage guy really this year. He's been the efficiency guy. That's been what his so him having a lower passing total is not completely inconsistent with the way he's played this year. Obviously, that's lower than we're used to seeing. But he hasn't been, the 350, 400-yard guy. He's been just incredibly efficient with the football. And I love the Vernon Adams success because, it reminds us of, how long it takes for a quarterback to hit his peak. And we have all kinds of impatience with quarterbacks that are in their 20s. And boy, this game takes a long time to learn, and particularly in VA's case, I used to say that he had a very kind of unique skill that I'd never seen before, and this is what I'm getting at. He could play a game sometimes where he threw 35 passes, where he had 4 interceptions. Now, 4 interception game sounds like a bad game, right? For a quarterback, for most quarterbacks, a 4 interception game would be bad. But with VA, it was like if you took away those 4 passes, he was great. It wasn't like he was terrible and the 4 interceptions were symptomatic of bad quarterback play. No, it was just on those 4 plays, he threw picks. The rest of the game, he was really good. And so the puzzle in my mind was always, boy, if he could eliminate that aspect of his game, he's going to take himself to another level. And sure enough, this year, he not only eliminates that from his game, he eliminates it from his game like no quarterback has ever done in the league's history. So it had to end. It's like the Davis Alexander streak that Edmonton kind of extinguished in overtime earlier this year. Although I still think it's amazing that he has never lost a CFL game in regulation time, a regular season game in regulation time. I think we'll talk about that enough because it's still a pretty amazing stat, given that he's in, kind of his third year as a starter in the league. It's having started a lot in 24, but an odd game and just nice that the Argonauts got to be at home for a night.
Well, that's true. And we did see, my understanding was the end zones are 15 yards now with those new suites. So we kind of got to see the first look of 15-yard end zones. Yeah.
And it's funny. I was talking to the commissioner not long ago about, the end zones. And I've always thought of it as, the end zones are going to be sort of, 150% bigger, say, than they are in American football, right? Because they're 15 yards deep and American end zones are 10 yards deep. So they're still going to be 50% bigger. Well, Stuart Johnston actually reminded me it's 80% bigger when you take in the width.
Yes.
So obviously I'm aware of the width of the Canadian football field, but my mind had just gone to 50% bigger. So they're still 80% bigger. And you get a little preview of that. I think there's, I'll say this about the rule changes that are coming, and I know there's a lot of apprehension around them for a lot of people. I'm going to take some measure from the rules that have been introduced this year, because if you look at the things that have been implemented this year, and granted, they at least from an optical point of view, they aren't as jarring as the ones that are coming next year. But teams on opposite side of the bench of the field. I know we already had that in the West Division. The play clock. The consistency of the play clock, which has gone, I think it's about 5 extra plays a game, in the same amount of time, which is, not nothing when you put it over the course of a season. And you look at the Rouge. The Rouge, I think, the league got saved an embarrassment when Liram Haralahu missed the 31-yard field goal in Hamilton a couple weeks ago, and the Argos lost the game instead of going overtime because of the miss. And I got to say, the new overtime. We've only seen it once. But I love that, the exchange of 2-point converts. I thought it was riveting. So you take those 4 changes that have been introduced, and look, I've noticed people like, Bob Irving, the longtime play-by-play broadcaster of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who's, I would say, about as traditional a guy as there is in the CFL. And in terms of media, I know he's retired now, but he still pays lots of attention. Like, he's been very complimentary of the changes that have been implemented this year. And as I say, I know there's more apprehension about 15-yard end zones and goalposts on the back and 100-yard fields and all that. I do think that Stuart Johnston and his team have earned some trust by the way this first phase has gone in.
Well, hey, and speaking of that, Dave, I was watching the game last night, and there was multiple occasions. Now, I know he threw 4 interceptions, so it wasn't like it was all roses, but there were multiple occasions Toronto to the line of scrimmage, and he's clearly seen what the defense is doing, and they're changing the play call. And we've seen a big increase in offense this year in the CFL. It's great. Higher scoring games. I love it. You know what? I do believe that in the regular season, entertainment matters. You want to get low scoring in the playoffs, then whatever, because people just want to win. Sure. But in the regular season, I do think offense helps sell tickets. And do you believe the 35-second play clock? Because a lot of people thought, it's going to be less scoring. In fact, it's more scoring because we've got veteran quarterbacks get to the line of scrimmage. They see what the defense is doing, and they're audibling out, and they're finding better options.
I think you're absolutely right. And it's funny, just kind of what we're learning about here. I wrote quite a lot the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season about, the quarterback play, about the high scoring, about the big yardage games, and, tried to explain it. And I talked to a lot of people about why it was happening. And by no question, the biggest factor was that the quarterback class is at a high point in the cycle, right? It always kind of cycles from year to year to year to year with retirements and new guys coming in. And we're at a stage where the new guys have arrived. They've established themselves. They're the stars, the Nathan Rourke and Davis Alexander. And the old guys, Bo Levi Mitchell, Trevor Harris are still slinging it and playing at a high level. That's the biggest reason. And of course, the reason I wrote those things in weeks 4 and 5 was I knew inevitably we'd get quarterback injuries and this would change, and it has. But of all the things that I talked about, that one didn't come up, interestingly. But a guy, Mike Sutherland, who was a former offensive lineman in the CFL, played with Ottawa and I believe some other teams as well. He sent me a piece that he wrote about this very topic and addressing, the impact of the play clock on offense. And I do think that, again, along with probably 6 or 7 factors I could come up with that have kind of, changed the move the league kind of in an offense direction. I think that does matter. I think one of the curious things for me will be if at some point the whole game is this way, instead of, saving the last 3 minutes for the old play clock. And just so we understand how that came about, at Rules Committee, when they brought in the new rules, they put it in the hands of Rules Committee to try to figure out, the minutiae of how it's going to work. And when the Rules Committee, which is basically, coaches, PA rep, they decided to keep the final 3 minutes the way they wanted. Now, I don't know that that's the way the league wants to do it long term. In fact, my sense is, it may not be, but I think it was a bit of a nod in the direction of the coaches that they dropped an enormous amount of change on their head, out of nowhere kind of last September. And they were going to let them decide this one. And no shock, coaches, if you ask them about rule changes, generally will go with the status quo. But it is something that could evolve in the league, I think, years down the road.
Okay, so I've looked at it. I've enjoyed it. This has been one of the more entertaining starts to a CFL season I could think of in a long time. Without a doubt, it's been great. As Dave Naylor joins us. So, Dave, we move to tonight, man. Ottawa's probably the one real kind of sore spot in the league right now is Ottawa. And hey, in any league, you're always going to have teams that are bad. And like Ottawa right now isn't very good. Now they've gotten rid of their defensive coordinator, who was obviously, associates with the head coach. So I don't think that's an easy fire. But you think we're going to see any difference defensively from them? And can they take advantage of a depleted Saskatchewan receiving core?
Yeah, that change may have been a little easier come about than it appeared on the surface, because I know everybody looks at Ryan Dinwiddie and Will Fields and says, well, they were together in Toronto when they won the Grey Cup in 2024. But Ryan Dinwiddie didn't retain Will Fields coming off that season. He tried to hire Brent Monson, and it fell apart over contractual issues, and Monson ended up going to Hamilton. But Will Fields was not invited back to that staff after winning the Grey Cup. And then, of course, Will went to Ottawa, and then Ryan ended up going to Ottawa. And so it was a reunion, but it was not necessarily on the surface what it might have appeared to be kind of from a distance. So I get kind of why you're going that direction, but I don't know that it was, it was necessary. These guys were tight, and this was a, strong working relationship that they'd had from Toronto. I don't know that that's necessarily the case. So, but, here's the thing with Ottawa. And look, for most of the games this year, they've been just good enough to get beat, and this has been I said this to Paul LaPolice when we were sitting around the green room for a game last week on the panel. I said, Paul, the DNA in this franchise goes back to when you were coaching there. And what I'm talking about is the 1 to 3 plays a game that turn close games from wins to losses or losses to wins. And I remember I brought up to Paul, I said, you remember a game where like they threw the ball to Darvin Adams, there was no one within 15 yards of him, and he just dropped it when you were coaching? It was like that was the Ottawa curse. They can't make that one play. And you watch that overtime game against Winnipeg 2 weeks. How many defensive backs in Ottawa had the game in their hands and couldn't squeeze it? How many 3rd and 1 plays have cost them? Watch them they had 4 trips inside the 6-yard line last week and came away with 6 points. I mean, it's mind-numbing stuff. So, that's why you see, I think Jake Mayer had 311 yards passing last week and 300 the week before. That's just one thing I have come around on with Ottawa is that, look, the old saying, Jason, quarterbacks get too much credit, get too much criticism. The narrative in Ottawa for the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season was Ryan Dinwiddie got the quarterback choice wrong. He should have gone with Drew Brown. He went with Jake Mayer. He's limiting. They're never going to win with this guy. Well, I mean, you can't watch the last 2 Ottawa Red Black games and tell me Jake Mayer is their biggest problem, because especially when you think of what he's facing, the lack of the run game and everything else. They still don't have a deep passing game. But, yeah, they should have beat Sask last time. We all remember the worst attempted tackle in the history of special teams. As Matthew Sexton is running down the rail, and the punter's all he's got to do is put his 2 hands out and push him out of bounds, and somehow he whipped. And, that was the difference in that game. So, they've had a number of games that have been like that, just key moments that they just are not there for. And now the defense is in the hands of a guy like Jeff Reinbold, who has had some success as a defensive coordinator in the CFL. He's had some challenges, but given how long he's been around, there's not a lot he hasn't seen.
Let's get to Saturday's games. And it's Edmonton, Montreal, first in the West versus first in the East. Although Saskatchewan wins tonight, it'll be a tie for first in the West. But, we talked about Davis Alexander. He's had a great run, no question, as starting quarterback. The Elks, the only team that beat him, albeit in overtime. I look at this game and really, Edmonton's red zone offense, and I know that they keep trying to downplay it, but the facts are facts. They're not getting it done. Now, Cody Fajardo had an interesting answer. He felt like, I think at times we're thinking about it too much when we get in there, and we're trying to do too much, and we're tensing up, and we're not making plays. But the Elks defense is going to have to find a way to disrupt the chemistry of Davis and his top two receivers. Otherwise, you're going to need your offense to score 4 or 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, and I think the real challenge of those two guys in Tyler Snead and Tyson Philpott is they catch balls all over the field. Like, some receivers are good deep, some are over the middle, some will take screen passes. They do it all, and if you give them space underneath, they will take the ball and they will yak all over you, right? Like, I think Tyson, and yards after catch is what I'm saying. Tyson Philpott, pretty much all season, has been the number 1 yards after catch player in the league. So if you decide you don't want to get beat deep by him and you're going to give him space and play him zone and let him catch balls underneath, he's still going to produce 20, 30, 40-yard gains against you. And, of course, if you creep up on him and, try and clamp down on him on those underneath throws, well, he pulls the double move and all of a sudden, he's behind everybody and he's going for 70 yards on a touchdown. So, and Snead's very much similar. I mean, different kind of player, but that ability to make plays at every part of the field and to yard after catch with the ball and turn small throws into big gains, that's what those two guys share. And, it's funny because the criticism, but one of the sort of potential negatives of Montreal's offense early in the year was an inordinate proportion of throws going to those two guys. And now that should make it easier for defenses because you know where the ball is going, but it didn't seem to be. And now, Cole Speaker's come off injured, and he's kind of given that third guy that they were lacking. And so, it's kind of become, it's not quite a 3-headed monster, but it's a little bit more like 2.5. And I agree. I mean, Davis Alexander throws on the run so well, moves so well. His versatility, you just got a lot of versatile players on that offense that really make it challenging for a defense.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to that game. The Elks get Anderson back. He'll play at middle linebacker, although I'm not sure he's going to play the whole game. We'll see kind of where they rotate him in. David Beard comes back in. And, the Elks run game, which was a big story early on, has been just as bad of a story the last 3 weeks. Like, their run game's been pathetic now for almost a month. They got to get going.
It's unreal. I mean, it really is. I mean, I'd be hard-pressed to think of an element on one team that was performing at an incredibly high level and has basically been snuffed out. And we did some stuff, again, this is stuff you do early in the season before stuff regresses to the mean, but we did some stuff on projecting some of the records that, could come down in this season if things had continued the way they were. Vernon Adams, challenging for touchdown throws in a season. Tyson Philpott, which that one's still alive. Like, he's going after the Alan Pitts record. And, the biggest challenge for him will just be playing 18 games. The most he's ever played in his career is 13. And obviously, if you're going to try to take aim at an all-time league record, you're going to need to stay healthy throughout. But Justin Rankin was in the Mike Pringle conversation. That's how good he was the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. And it just looked like when they played BC, the BC was just swarming the football. Like, they were not going to get beat by Justin Rankin. And I think, other teams, as tends to happen in football, go to school on film on what teams that have been effective are able to do. But all that said, just the extremes of going from what that offense was on the ground to what it is without. And maybe that's a big credit to Cody Fajardo that his play hasn't really dipped as the run game has been stuffed. He's shouldering a lot more of the offense right now. But yeah, you expect that, when I talk about regressing to the mean, maybe it improves to the mean again, because I think Justin Rankin is somewhere between what we saw the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season and what we've seen since. But that, I think, it was his big playability and, that that ability to turn a screen pass or a handoff into a scoring play just really motivated defenses to try to. It wasn't like he's just grinding out yards. These were game-changing yards, and teams have obviously focused and tried to take that away and been successful at it.
Enjoy the weekend. As always, we appreciate it, Dave. Have a great day.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
There you go. That's Dave Naylor from CFL and TSN. Big weekend in the CFL, man. That Elks Alouettes game. Can't wait. 1 o'clock tomorrow. Can't come soon enough. And if you are a football fan, we mentioned it. You got the Wildcats. They have their home opener Sunday. Meanwhile, the Edmonton Huskies will play Saturday night at 7 o'clock at the JP Bowl. So lots of football to get after it this weekend. Let's take a quick break. We'll return to Gregor Show presented by Play Alberta.
Team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. Specialists empowering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy. Designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
At Papa John's, we know it's not just a pizza. It's a family gathering, a happy birthday, a special celebration, or just a sigh of relief at the end of a busy day. For a limited time, get large one-topping pizzas for only $14.99 each on original, thin, or New York-style crust. Use promo code L1499 at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Get yours today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Tap into the fun of Play Alberta's most popular casino games. From the fast-paced spins of Cash Eruption to the retro thrills of Sevens Wild, online excitement is always at your fingertips. Spin through your choice of popular slots or discover Alberta-exclusive games you won't find anywhere else. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
For all your welding supplies, think AWS Welding. Located in Nisku, their readily stocked storefront carries a wide variety of welding glasses, cylinder rentals, plus welding rod, wire, and consumables. Same-day delivery is always available. And if they don't have it, AWS Welding will find it for you fast. Visit their online store today at awswelding.ca or give them a call or text at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. They make it happen.
Thinking of growing your business? In partnership with Prairie's Can, the Alberta Chambers of Commerce is helping businesses explore new opportunities, new markets, and build connections through organized trade missions across Canada. Find the right mission for you at abchamber.ca/trade missions.
Struggling to find skilled workers? What if you could fill your talent pipeline with motivated, pre-vetted youth and receive funding to support your efforts? At Careers The Next Generation, we connect Alberta employers with interns in skilled trades, IT, agriculture, forestry, and more. All WCB covered, high school accredited, safety trained, and ready to contribute from day one. With 83% of RAP students continuing their apprenticeships after high school, investing in youth today means securing your workforce for tomorrow. Don't wait. Visit careersnextgen.ca to get started.
Ford employee pricing is on now, and you pay what we pay on virtually our entire lineup of Ford vehicles. Visit your Alberta Ford store today.
Are you looking for safe and reliable transportation solutions for your wedding, corporate retreat, or golf trip? Look no further than Silent Rides, Alberta's premier charter bus company. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer 3 different sizes of units to cater to your needs, and we provide first-class service at affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Car shopping sucks. That's right. Going back and forth 100 times just to get a price. Give me your credit card for a test drive. What's all these extra fees? That sounds ridiculous. At Northgate, we do things a little differently. Good deals on new, pre-owned vehicles, good people, and a great selection. And don't forget about our employee pricing. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the Gregor special. Enjoy 20% off any regular menu price order. Enter promo code Gregor at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
2:46, positive Friday, rolling through. Hope you have fun plans for the weekend. If you are going to a Folk Fest, there's a delay at the gate, so hopefully everything's up and running for all of you. What are they called? Are you like Folk Festers? And have you been? How many of you have been to Folk Fest? I think I went once. Honestly, I have some buddies who went and who go, and they're still going this weekend. And I was talking to them on our vacation recently, and one night, like, I really learned a lot about Folk Fest. Like, it is, man, it's a different. I never knew there used to be like races for the tarps. That was intriguing to me. So we'll get into that a little bit later on for all of you folkies. I'm going to have fun this weekend. Should be good. Hopefully, it doesn't rain. Sadly, rain in the broadcast on the forecast on Sunday and Monday. Terrible. Like, come on. Enough. I'm throwing up the white flag. Throwing up the white flag for the precipitation. So I think we've had enough. Now, let's get to our NFL report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year in your furnace or your AC. Unfortunately, if your basement flooded, you need a new furnace, they can help you out. LegacyHeating.ca. And we continue our NFL training camp preview. We stop in LA to talk about the Rams. There seems like there's some news going on about the Rams. Nick Hamilton from Nightcast Media joins us. Nick, welcome to the show, man. How you doing? Do we have Nick there? We do not. We'll figure it out. So, if he's on the line or not. There we go. So maybe he's on mute. Who knows? We'll see. We'll try it again. Take two. Nick, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hey, doing good. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. I guess give us the latest. Like Aaron Donald is. I know he did the physical. Is this just cross the T's and dot the I's, and he'll be officially signed soon?
I believe so. I mean, based upon who I've been talking to in the last few weeks, he worked out at UCLA this morning. Working doing drills. So I would say a decision will be coming down at some point between, I'll say now and the end of the month. And, you know, he's all the signs are pointing in the right direction. He's been passing all the workouts. He's been doing exceptionally well, as we already know Aaron Donald can do. As this man works out every day. It's a week. As if he's never left football. So I think it's just more so making sure that he's comfortable and making sure that contractually the language and the verbiage aligns.
Do you think he would sign a multi-year deal, or is this going to be a 1 year at a time situation?
I don't see it past 1 year, to be honest with you. I think this is the year and I think Myles Garrett has a tremendous amount of reason. You know, obviously getting a guy, the 2025 Defensive Player of the Year coming to Los Angeles, obviously that's going to wake up some bones in your body to say, you know what, I think I still have a year left on my original deal. Maybe I could come back. I haven't stepped away that long. I mean, it's only been about 2 seasons. I know it feels longer than that, but it's really only been about 2 seasons since he stepped on the field, you know, when they won that last championship. So I think if you're Aaron Donald, you go all in this year because obviously also too on the offensive side we don't know how much longer Matthew Stafford's going to have playing at a high level as a starting quarterback. So I think this is the year that if you're the Los Angeles Rams, you want to cash all in, and if you're Aaron Donald, you want to make sure that you have everything going for you so that you can be a major contributor on this defense as well as this team.
You look at, and you mentioned Myles Garrett, and that combination has a lot of people very intrigued to just see how potentially dominant. Now, obviously, we have to see Aaron Donald, and you know what? There's maybe no reason to believe he can't be the player he was, but age catches up to everybody, so it's still a little bit of a wait and see. But the thought of that potential combination, Nick, and just how lethal they could be in the way they could exploit offenses.
Oh, absolutely. I think it'll be something not exact, but something maybe similar to what we saw with that year that when they won the Super Bowl, it was Aaron Donald and Von Miller, right? That you're not going to double team either one of them, because if you go single coverage, the type of damage they're going to bring. And I think it's more intensified now because of Myles Garrett, because of the type of player that he is, and the fact that he can command double teams. And sometimes we've seen even triple teams. But then if you do that, guess who you leave open? That's not, you just kind of pick your poison if you're an opposing offense. And so I definitely see these two definitely coexisting. I think they will work extremely well together. And this is probably the best defense we've seen this Rams team have in the last few years.
So you look at and they're in a pretty tough division. Obviously, you got the defending champs in Seattle, and now the 49ers, if they can stay healthy, they should be pretty good. You mentioned Matt Stafford. Do you feel that, is he on the final years? Does he got 1 year left? Do you think he'll play multiple? And where do you outline their offensive strengths this season?
That's an excellent question. I think when you look at Matthew Stafford, obviously he signed, a 1-on-1 type of deal, which means he can come back in another season if he desires to. But I think also when you look at Matthew Stafford, 2025 MVP, I think he can repeat those same type of stats this season. I mean, with this offense, a nice offensive line, but also you have a great running game in Blake Corum and Kyron Williams, who can also block for you. You also have a rejuvenated Puka Nacua. You have Devontae Adams, who's healthy. And I'm gonna tell you something. One of the steals in the draft may be C.J. Daniels out of Miami in those later rounds, because this C.J. Daniels is a kid that can make wobbly balls look like he just threw a perfect spiral. I mean, this kid is going after it. And you got the tight end. They have a very deep tight end group. Tyler Higbee, Davis Allen. They're looking for big things out of Terrence Ferguson to take a step up this season. And obviously you drafted Max Clare for the long term. So they have a lot of options on offense. It's pretty much depending on what the defense is going to give you.
Nick Hamilton of Nightcast Media joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show, taking a look at the Rams. And I wanted to go to that tight end room because I think there's 9 players in the depth chart right now. Mm-hmm. We know that last season Sean McVay really took advantage of the 13 personnel, and it's a copycat league. Everyone's starting to do it now. Have you seen that grow? I mean, are they just kind of evolving with that formation, and is that something we should continue to expect? Or does he now zig when everybody zags?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. I think he zigs when they zag, but also, too, you're building not only for the present, but you're looking at the future as well, because contracts will be coming up after this season, especially in that tight end room. Obviously, how long does Tyler Higbee have? Because he's been injured. Unfortunately, he's been injury-riddled the last few seasons. And I think Tyler Higbee is also there for the younger guys. I mean, to kind of be a coach or a coordinator at tight end on the field, as it were. To help the young guys like a Terrence Ferguson, like a Max Clare, and to really center and make sure that you have enough depth, because if there's any injury, it's next man up, and that next man up can also play the position very well and understand the playbook and be able to execute and help Matthew Stafford move the chains down the field and make sure that you can score effectively and efficiently. So, it's almost by committee. But again, in this league, as you guys know, anything can happen, and you want to be as prepared as you possibly can when that does happen. So I think depth in the tight end room is definitely major. So it'll be interesting to see how they rotate the guys that I named and I mentioned throughout the entire season.
And you touched on contract expiring the tight end room, but there's a pretty big one in that receiver room as well, with Puka Nacua now eligible. I believe he switched agents, and I just look at his comparable would probably be Jackson Smith-Njigba, who got $42.15 million. So you probably have to factor that in the next couple of years. Do you think they're close to a deal, or is this something they'll probably look at next offseason?
I think they're maybe looking at that next offseason. They want to see if he can put it together like socks and shoes. I think if you're looking at obviously what Puka Nacua went to off the field, which was very unfortunate, but he did, seek help. He's still continuing with that help, and he's been magnificent on the field. We know how extremely talented Puka Nacua is. When you mention Jackson Smith and Jigba, it's almost 1A, 1B between him and Puka, right? And obviously you add Justin Jefferson into that wide receiver mix in the league. So when you look at Puka Nacua, I think he's just coming in it with a focus, with a renewed focus. And I think the Rams are making sure they know what he can do on the field. It's about how you handle yourself off the field. And I think Puka has learned quite a bit about himself. He learned quite a bit about the mistakes that he's made. And I think the Rams want to be assured that, hey, if we do give you this large contract, which comes with an enormous amount of responsibility, are you going to be able to handle the success that does indeed come with it? And once if he can showcase that this season, in which the organization is definitely 110% behind him, then I think the contract negotiations will start after this season. I can see him getting a huge deal on that JSN type of money because he would have absolutely earned it and deserved it.
Nick, just one more for me looking in that Rams backfield here, and this is kind of on-field but also fantasy purposes. We saw Kyren Williams last year go off for a really big season, over 1,200 yards, but Blake Corum did a really good job spelling him as well, averaging over 5 yards per carry. Is that kind of the pecking order you'd expect, or do you think it'll be a little more balanced in terms of carries?
I think depending on the opponents, right? Because I think like the great thing about Sean McVay, he doesn't just say, okay, hey, this is running back by committee, so we've always done this, we're going to continue to do this. No, he knows how to make adjustments when they are necessary. Yes, I would expect Kyren Williams to take the first load, but don't sleep on the fact that Blake Corum, when necessary, will come through. And these are two different types of backs. They have some similar styles, but they have a lot of differences as well that are affordable for the Rams to be able to explore and to be able to dismantle opposing defenses as they play throughout the season.
As you watch and you go into training camp, are there any new faces? Like, who are the players you think could be impact guys for the Rams who aren't established, proven names?
That's a great question. And I know that he's taking a lot of flack, but when I was watching Ty Simpson, for example, and the one thing that stood out to me about Ty, and I know he's going to be on the backup, he's going to be on clipboard duty for the most part. I was not, especially during the regular season, but he's starting to be a little more calmer under center. I've noticed that about him. But I think a guy that can probably make some sort of major, some immediate impact or potential impact could be CJ Daniels. The man, he can catch, like I said, he can catch a football. I don't care how you throw it. He's going to find a way to catch that football. And I think that's what you need, especially when you have, Devontae, you have Puka. You need a third threat. And I think CJ Daniels will continue to work extremely hard. And I spoke with him last Saturday and just asked him, hey, man, how's camp going? How have you been able to adjust? And he said, look, I take it one day at a time. I'm enjoying it, but I'm learning the most that I need to learn. And I'm taking it one camp at a time. And the cool thing about the coaches, don't have a lot of heavy expectations for me. So they're allowing me to kind of absorb the plays as they come.
Okay.
And then also him learning from, Devontae and Puka is going to be extremely necessary. So CJ Daniels is my pick.
All right. Nick, great stuff, man. Great rundown. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the preseason and Aaron Donald watch, which likely will be official at some point later this month.
Absolutely. I'm bringing out my 99 jersey already.
All right. There you go. That's Nick Hamilton from Nightcast Media joining us. Hey, the Rams, on paper, they look really good. That division, that division looks really good. And I haven't even checked out the schedule yet. But, those head-to-head matchups between those three teams should be a much-watch TV if you are an NFL fan, for sure. It's 3 o'clock. Get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Hire Good for professional property services that you can feel good about. Get Hire Good. Site cleanup, debris removal, seasonal maintenance, and more. Stable jobs, create stable lives. HireGood.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Week 10, the CFL rolls on tonight. You got the Riders and the Red Blacks from Regina. Kickoff 7 o'clock tomorrow. Doubleheader Elks and Nals at 1. Then at 5 o'clock, BC hosting Hamilton. Major League Baseball, Jays Phillies from Philadelphia. First pitch, 4:40 will join that one in progress following the Jason Gregor Show at 6 o'clock on the AM feed only. Elsewhere, Yankees, Braves, Marlins host the Angels. Athletics head to Boston. Brewers and Twins. Cubbies get the Royals. Cards host the Rockies. Diamondbacks host the Dodgers, while the Mariners up against the Rays. The Athletics have made a change in the front office, announced the departure of general manager David Forst earlier today. The A's currently sitting 45 and 74th spot in the AL West, expected to miss the playoffs for the 6th consecutive season. The Tennessee Titans have signed left guard Peter Skronsky to a 4-year, $100 million extension with $88 million guaranteed, making him the highest paid guard in the NFL. And Canadian junior football this weekend. The Huskies host the Colts on Saturday at 7 o'clock with the Wildcats in action Sunday. Regina in town. Kickoff at 1. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Devils beat reporter James Nichols and get to the stats of the day. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Do you know why people love working at GS Construction? It's honest work. It's work that needs to be done. And we're really good at what we do. That's why GS Construction has been in business for over 50 years. We won't be wearing a top hat and tails, more like hard hat and boots, because we're heading underground to keep the water flowing in and out of your homes and businesses in Edmonton. GS Construction is currently looking for experienced pipe layers and top men. Visit gsconstruction.ca/careers today.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Edmonton sports fans stay informed with Sports 1440. Stream us. Listen to us on the AM dial. However you consume this radio station, thanks for listening.
Hi, I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. We've been tightening bolts and redefining our industry for 25 years. Yes, a quarter century. And we're just getting started. Check us out at cantork.com. Our tools age better than I do.
It's cone season at McDonald's, which means vanilla cones are $1 each
21
like
as we
in the McDonald's
continue
app
on pause
all summer
with Friday.
long. Soft, creamy, and crunchy. For just $1 each plus tax exclusively in the McDonald's app. App download and registration required at participating McDonald's in Canada.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is serious about cooling.
Good.
In fact, we offer multiple ways to cool your home. So you better
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you're looking for traditional air conditioning, we got you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Or ask us about a heat pump to help you heat and cool.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Cool with AC or cool with a heat pump. Cool your home with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Welcome.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. We treat pain and injuries head to toe and some other issues that might surprise you, like incontinence, vertigo, neuropathy, and cognitive issues. We invest in technology, techniques, skills, and people that know how and what to fix. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock on a positive Friday. How you doing? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Sports 1440, Sports 1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. You can always get involved. You can text us 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Gregor Show brought to you by Play Alberta. Lotto Max tonight, $25 million. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. Coming up, we're going to hear from James Nickel. We're going to talk a little hockey. We do have some text to get to, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Rams and Niners are in Australia week 1. Ooh, there you go. Really? In Australia? So do they each get a bye in week 2? Cons, I haven't even looked that far. Do they got to play in Australia and then fly all the way back and play again the following week, or do they each get a bye?
They kick it off in Australia. They play on the 10th and the 21st. So
okay, so it's a Thursday and then a Sunday.
Yeah, similar to Chargers and Chiefs got that last year with Brazil, which isn't quite Australia, obviously.
Yeah, Australia is
it's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, do we need to do this? You think? Like, I get some of them. Well, you couldn't go further.
Yeah,
it's like playing in New York and going the opposite way around the world. Just like, why do it? I don't get it.
Yeah. And I'm guessing there's got to be somebody who's paying him, right? Because money talks. So is the league making that much more money on it? And so what time is the game played local time in Australia?
So I think right now they're 16 hours ahead.
Okay. So is that game... Because usually the game's played at 8 o'clock at night. So will that game be played at noon?
So it's 6:30 our time. So I believe 10. I don't know all the time zones in Australia. My sister lives there. We kind of have a basic understanding. But yeah, 6:35 our time. So that would be 10:30, 11:30 in Australia, a.m.
Yeah, that's a terrible start time. It's a Thursday. For the local people, now I know it's a one time, and so people will go because they want to say, hey, I got to go to the NFL game. But yeah, it seems I don't know, you're going to Australia. Why? You're not gonna have a league there. It's kind of like the NHL. The NHL talks about expansion to Europe. How realistic is it? You would have to have at least 6 teams in the European division. At least. So, and I don't think you can have a massive expansion at one time. I'll say this, Connor Halley. In the future, I think European NHL would happen only if there was 1 or 2 expansion teams and the rest were relocated from North American places that weren't doing well. That's the only way I see it happening. I don't see how you can start with 1 or 2 teams in Europe. And how those teams can be competitive, or you're going to fly over there now, unless dare to dream, they're going to say, oh, we'll take Gregor's idea and actually play road games where you'd go and you'd play 2 in Russia and then 2 in Czechia, or 2 in Sweden and 2 in Finland against the same team. Because if there's only 2 teams over there, you better be going for more than that. But I just don't see how it's feasible. Travel matters. Right? Flying time, all that stuff. It's significant. So, I don't know. But Australia for the NFL does seem like an odd place to go. You're never expanding there. So, to me, it's simply about money and how much they're getting paid to go there for a one-off. Right? I don't know what the money is, but I'm going to guess it's enough to talk. Right?
Yeah. And I mean, why does the NHL or NFL need to expand to Europe? You don't hear the English Premier League, let's expand to Salt Lake City.
Excellent point.
We have to go there. No, Liverpool did a tour. I got the exact dates. They played Sunderland, Wrexham, and Leeds. It was a week-long thing. So you do something like that. It's not one game. Different in American football to European football, I understand. But doing little things like that, you try to grow the game. But the whole talk of expanding, having the Jags move to London, to me, that just makes no sense. There's no point in doing it.
Yeah, I would agree. But I love your example of you don't hear about the European major, football league / soccer talking about coming over here, right? So that's why MLS started their own league, right? It's their own league. So now you do have hockey leagues in Europe, but Swedish has their own one, Finland has their own one. Russia has the KHL, and that's where you're at. I think expansion in the NHL is a waste of time to even discuss it. Right? It doesn't make much sense to me, and I'm not sure it's ever really going to happen. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Hey, Greg's read your article on Savoy and Howard, and I have to admit, I was surprised at Hoodler and Filppula. I was one who thought there was no chance both Savoy and Howard could play in the top 9. At least now I'm thinking it's a realistic possibility. Good research. Love the article. Thanks. That one comes from Tim. Well, Tim, I appreciate that. The Filppula Hoodler was, and I tried to use, because I know there's lots of people that have talked about, well, yeah, Babcock played the young guys in Toronto. Yeah. Well, but the young guys were all his best players. Austin Matthew, Mitch Marner, Willie Nylander, Connor Brown, Zach Hyman. They all came in as rookies the same year, which is, first of all, like almost unheard of, right? You don't have that happen very often. The reason it happened was because Matthews was number 1 pick and Marner was number 4 pick and Nylander was number 8 pick, all in a 3-year span. And they all came in at the same time. Now, Nylander did play, I think, 8 games the year before, but was essentially a rookie. Well, he was a rookie. So that doesn't happen when you're a team that's been competing for the cup in 2 of the last 3 years. And even last year, the Oilers, their whole organizational platform was cup contender. They're going to bring in 5 rookies. Like, you might have an Ike Howard, funny enough, he's not even a rookie next year by the NHL standards because he played 29 games this past year. So he's played too many games to be considered an actual rookie by NHL standards. So when you look at it, they've got some younger players that they've incorporated, but Matt Savoy's in his 2nd year. Colton Dock's played now a few years. They got some younger guys, Szymanski, right? So they'll have younger players, right? Mock Medulin going to find himself some ice time somewhere, I would think. Maybe in the 3rd pair. Him and Ty Emerson battling it out. But for the most part, Edmonton's a veteran team. So to have 1 or 2 young guys makes sense. And Detroit won a cup doing it. They had a boatload of veterans. And by the way, Detroit won that year with Datsuk and Zetterberg providing the majority of their offense, 97 and 92 points. The next highest scoring forward had 42 points. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case in Edmonton. I don't think it's going to be. Now, McDavid and Draisaitl are going to be pretty high up there, but I would think someone else could push over 50 points. But they might have a lot of guys with 35 points and balance it out a bit. That would be ideal. But they didn't give up many goals. Right? That was the difference. And so Hoodler and Filppula found roles. And like, I look at Matt Savoy, like, to me, Matt Savoy's not even a question. I like Matt Savoy. Look at his play. Anytime a player improves down the stretch, that's a good sign. Now, I know everyone's like, yeah, but the playoff, it's 6 games. And I can go down the long list of players whose first foray into the NHL playoffs did not go as well as they would like. Lots of guys. Heck, we see veterans played 7 years in the league, and then the next 8th time in the playoffs, they score 2 points in 6 games. It happens. So I'm not going to fret too much over a 6-game example from Savoy, but he'll learn from it. And like any player, you hope that he'll be better the next time around. But I think Matt Savoy in the regular season, I fully expect him to exceed the numbers he had last year. I think he'll play a few more minutes, but he had 19 points in the final 24 games down the stretch. That's what I look at for Matt Savoy. That's a huge, like, those are massive numbers. I don't expect him to do 19 and 24 pace all season long. Heck, he'd be a 60-point player then, which would be great. But, you're a 60-point player in the NHL. That borders on top-line production, right? How many NHL forwards had 60 points last year, right? We did it. We did it yesterday in the show. We were looking at guys who had just 45 points, which puts you as a top 6 forward because, he's saying, hey, we think this guy will get 46 points. I'm like, dude, 46 points. You look at forwards who have 60 points in the NHL last year, 71. 71. Do the math. Divide that by 32 teams. That's just like, just over 2.1 per team. So, hell, if he got to 60 points, he'd be doing cartwheels. I think that we always have to have a realistic and rebalancing of when I throw up point totals for people. Because I see like when prognosticators go out there and they, this is what the point totals are going to be for the forwards on the team. And the goal total, I'm always like, did you add it up? Did you look at how many goals a team scored last year? You can't expect the Oilers, hey, they had 6 20-goal guys and 2 were close at 19 and 18. That's really good balanced scoring. Scoring's not the problem with the Oilers. It hasn't been the problem for years. It's can they limit the goals against? Can they reduce them? If that happens, they'll be very successful. If not, we'll see. So just how it goes, man. Right? So you look at you're a 60-point player, 71 forwards. I'm not including defense because they're obviously not a first liner as forwards. 71 forwards had 60 points in the NHL last year. That's not even a top line. So per team. Now, I know that some teams don't have any. I get that. But it's, and I'm looking at the Oilers, right? Like 60-point guys. You had McDavid and you had Draisaitl, right? That's it. It's like, it's hard to score 60 points in the NHL. That should always be a reminder. Right? Nugent Hopkins and Hyman each had 50, 6 and 52. Then Podkolzin was 37. Savoy, 37. Roslovic, 20-goal season, 36 points. So you can't just look at points. It's going to have to be, can these guys limit their goals against? Because that's the one thing Detroit did. When they won under Babcock, they didn't have a ton of big-time scores. They had 2 guys who dominated in Zetterberg and Datsuk. Obviously, Nick Lidstrom on the back end. And even Brian Rafalski, he had 55 points that year. They won the Cup. It's pretty damn. Like 2 defensemen at 55 points on a team, rare. So could Matt Savoy be a 45-point guy this year? I think that's very doable to me. I think that'd be a hell of a year. Anything, if he surpasses 50, that's phenomenal in his second season in the NHL. But he's probably going to have to get some power play time consistently to get to 50 points. Hard to be a guy who scores 50 points as a forward in the NHL and doesn't have a ton of power play time. Right? It's just hard. Not impossible. I'm just saying it's difficult because it's hard to score at even strength. Harder to score at even strength. Like if you look at the at players who had over 50 points, how many of them what's their even strength? Like how many of those guys had, like I'm looking at it now, and the lowest, funny enough, the lowest point total of any player at even strength points who had 50 points as a forward in the NHL, Brian Nugent Hopkins. So look, but he had more power play points than he had even strength points. Not many guys are going to do that. Take a quick break. We'll return to Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, and we'll talk about a team that I think for the last 3 years has probably been underwhelming for what their expectations were at the start of each season. Will that change this year? We'll find out next on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Tap into the fun of Play Alberta's most popular casino games. From the fast-paced spins of Cash Eruption to the retro thrills of Sevens Wild, online excitement is always at your fingertips. Spin through your choice of popular slots or discover Alberta-exclusive games you won't find anywhere else. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your #1 air conditioning company. So when you can't take living in oppressive heat any longer,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if your hot, sticky sheets keep you up all night,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you've decided that you deserve to be cool and comfortable,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
and with no payments, no interest for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Yeah, it's me again. And if you're sidelined with a sports injury, you already know nothing's more frustrating than being told to just rest. At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we get athletes moving sooner with our zero gravity treadmills. You can run, train, and rebuild strength with up to 80% less body weight, so your injury heals while your confidence comes roaring back. When your sports injury's yelling, whisper back, leadingedgephysio.com, because life shouldn't hurt.
Need an excuse to upgrade your ride? Well, we got a few to share. Go Auto has over 18,000 new and used vehicles ready to test drive right now. With more than 70 locations, your perfect match could be closer than you think. A family-friendly SUV for soccer practice, a fuel-sipping commuter, or a hardworking truck that's ready for anything. Trusted brands and a team that's actually happy to help. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade: safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Are you a skilled laborer? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All-Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All-Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience searching for work, search All-Star Construction on Indeed.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Does your bank do local? We do. When you bank with Vision Credit Union, you're banking with a rural Albertan cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, volunteerism, local team and event sponsorships, and by returning millions in profit shares to our members every year. Does your bank do that? We do local. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
You've got better things to do than wait for an oil change. Jiffy Lube gets you in and out fast. No appointment necessary. All you have to do is roll into a location near you, and we'll take care of the rest. Every full synthetic oil change at Jiffy Lube is warranty approved and comes with a 20-point visual inspection, making sure you get back on the road safely. Find your neighborhood Jiffy Lube today. Visit jiffylubeservice.ca.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also, a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Positive Friday continues on. Hope you are having a positive day. And we found out it's Folkies for the folk festival. So they call themselves the Folkies. So for all of you going, hope you're there. Now, I heard that they've kind of changed the rules, but they used to be cons. Did you know that? So there was a draw every morning for your tarp, and you wanted to be one of the first people with a tarp. And then, though, not only I thought, okay, well, once you get a tarp, okay, great. No. They used to have to run. They would say, okay, mark, set, go. And the people with the tarps would race to secure their tarp spot. That's wild, man.
Bring it back.
They should have videoed that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Survival of the quickest.
You have your crew. You're like,
no,
designated runner.
What? No, you only get one person, right? You go in there, Cons, because let's say you and your friends, you want to have multiple tarps because you have big groups. Connor puts his name on. His name's drawn. Connor's running. There's no substitute. No pinch runner.
Yeah. Bring it back. Let's watch it. I like it.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Things I learned on holidays. Crazy. Crazy. Folksies are a different breed, man. Different breed. Hopefully it'll be dry for you all weekend. Now, let's go around the NHL. Brought to you by McDonald's. You can enjoy the $5 McValue meals. Sausage McMuffin small meal, the McDouble small meal, only $5 plus tax. Whew, the McDouble, I love it. It's a great deal. Only at McDonald's. Now, in 2023, that a breakout year, 112 points, and everyone's like, oh, the Devils have arrived. But since then, the New Jersey Devils have, I think, have struggled by their standards. Haven't been the team, haven't come close to matching that 112-point season. They've been a little bit at times, maybe a poster child of a team that hasn't lived up to expectations from what people thought they could be. Is this year going to be different, or does it once again all depend on the health of Jack Hughes? We will find out as we go to New Jersey. James Nichols from New Jersey Hockey Now joins us. James, how you doing?
I'm good, Jason. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. The Devils in 23 had 112 points, and everyone's like, whoo, here we go. Now they're entering the time where they'd be good. But since then, it's been 81 points, then 91 points in 25, and back to 87 points last year. Clearly, not where they would want to be. So is it just too simple to say it rests on the health of Jack Hughes?
I don't know if it's too simple to say because there is some merit to it. But I mean, certainly there is just the fact that they did lack a little bit of depth last year as well. So, it's kind of a hand-in-hand thing. When Jack Hughes goes down, the rest of the team does seemingly suffer. But that's because of the lack of depth they've had. So we saw, a couple of the guys in free agency that they could have brought back, go elsewhere. And then they bring in, guys this summer like Evan Rodriguez and Jesper Boquist, who I think are going to be huge additions. I think took care of what they had to this in terms of depth adds, which in the past summers. And I think they're trying to, like you alluded to before, talking about the 22-23 team. I think they're trying to remodel that kind of roster moving forward. So they kind of started that, I think, summer. We'll see bounce back year, so long as Jack stays healthy, the depth pulls through.
Okay. So we talk about some of the offseason moves for the Devils. Obviously, they had the big trade. Nemec is out, and they've had a lot of defensemen. They've been able to develop defensemen, draft defensemen. Obviously, they signed Dougie Hamilton, that big deal. But you got Hamilton, and you got Hughes, and you got Pesci, and you got Kovacevic, Siegenthaler. Now Dylan's not ready to start the year. Is he coming back? Like, is it December, January? What's his return date?
Actually, Brendan Dillon will be ready to start the year. He's going to have a full training camp. He's going to be fully recovered by the time training camp starts. So he'll be good to go.
Okay. Well, that's good. So they've still got lots of good defensemen. That's not a problem. Up front, on paper, every year, the Devils, Timo Meier, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier, you're like, geez, they should be able to score. And then it hasn't come to fruition the last 3 years. Timo Meier, man, I saw that he was a man-child in San Jose. Big, strong, powerful. And I know that last year seemed to be better for him. What have you made of Timo Meier and why he hasn't been able to find the same success in New Jersey that he had in San Jose?
Yeah, the thing about when he was in San Jose was he was the play driver. He was the guy that they went to in San Jose, as opposed to, Jack Hughes is that guy in New Jersey. And then the next man up might not actually even be Timo Meier in that situation, because they have guys like Nico Hischier. They have guys like Jesper Bratt. So in terms of, him getting back to that status, I mean, it's really just about puck touches.
Okay.
And he's clearly not getting as many as he was in San Jose. Now, the thing is, I do think he's a little bit underutilized on the power play. I don't think he's playing to his strengths there. I think they need to put him on the first unit and maybe just have him in the left circle ripping shots.
Yeah.
But they haven't had him doing that, in previous seasons. I'm curious to see if they'll get back to that this season coming up. But, other than that, I mean, it's so funny because, like, I talk about Timo Meier a lot. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He's just got all the skills. He's got all the tools. Like, when you watch him, you're like, this guy should be scoring upwards of 35, 40 goals a year. I mean, he really has everything in his arsenal. He just had been a little bit unlucky in seasons previous. He gets near 30 goals, but he doesn't necessarily break 30 goals. The only 30 goal season he had in New Jersey was the year they traded him to New Jersey. I should say the year that New Jersey acquired him. Other than that, he's just barely been touching it. 27 goals, 29 goals, and he's right there. He's right on the cusp. It's got a little bit to do with usage. It's got a little bit to do with puck touches, and it has a little bit to do with a bit of bad luck on the way. And it's funny, like, you say, well, it's been a few seasons. Like, is he always unlucky? No, I also think it's a bit of underutilization for him as well. So I'm curious to see if a guy like Sonny Meta comes into the fold, and if that changes things, because he looks at things from a different perspective, from a different regime. So I know Sonny Meta and Sheldon Keefe have spoken about how intertwined they've been in their conversations about the roster and how to use them. And so I'm curious to see how that's going to play out this year.
Well, yeah, you definitely look at the drop off in his power play goals from 17 and 12 down to 7 and 6 the last 2 years with the Devils compared to when he was in San Jose. That's a pretty big significance. And that's going to be the difference between a 26 goal scorer and a 33, 34 goal scorer. You get a little extra time on the power play, and he can really shoot the puck. And like, the Devils power play is okay. Like, it was 22% last year. I think it was 13th or 14th. Like, not awful by any stretch of the imagination. But when you got a guy like that, I love that you brought it up, that he seems underutilized specifically on the power play. Now, you mentioned Jack Hughes and he's their guy, but the truth about Jack Hughes is, he's the last 3 years, it's guaranteed to miss 20 games, right? 62, 62, 61. He misses 20 games every year, right? Like, he's a point a game guy when he's in, but he misses a quarter of the season all the time. Now we can say that's bad luck, whatever, but is that something? Do the Devils just have to plan to not have Hughes for a quarter of the season?
And that's a good question, because, one of the things I think of is last season's injury wasn't on the ice, right? It was an off the ice incident. It was something that you couldn't really plan for in terms of him getting a cut in Chicago and, taking him out for a chunk of the season that you didn't anticipate for. So you hope that was an outlier and it obviously doesn't happen again, right? And then you say the rest of his season, I mean, he played really well when he was on the ice, and, he stayed healthy again on the ice. The previous seasons before with his shoulder injuries, those were both on ice injuries. So, if he can stay on the ice and healthy, that, like you said earlier, I do think that the Devils take a step forward. But how do you plan for, a guy missing a quarter of a season, right? Sonny Meta did kind of allude to it. He did say, I wanted to build a roster that accounts for players who, may miss some time. He didn't name Jack Hughes specifically. I think he just, did really want to shore up the depth here. And, that's why he went out and got guys like Jesper Bohlquist, who can, move up a Florida lineup and score huge goals in the Stanley Cup playoffs and help them win a Stanley Cup. Guys like Evan Rodriguez, who have been there before. So certainly I do think that is the thought process. I don't think it's about Jack Hughes specifically, but I think it's more about just making sure they have the depth that they didn't have previous. And that's one of the things that really bit them. I mean, if you look at, the how many goals the Devils have scored when the top six is going, and how many wins it accounts for versus how many goals the bottom six scores and how many wins that accounts for, it's a massive difference. When the bottom six isn't scoring, they're not winning games.
talking New Jersey Devils with James Nichols. Now, the Devils in that division, and really the Eastern Conference, James, when I look at it, the Eastern Conference is a bigger, more physical conference now, and definitely tougher, specifically the Atlantic Division. You look up and down the Devils lineup. They got a lot of skill. They got some big guys, but they don't necessarily have a lot of aggressiveness after Brendan Dillon. Is that a concern at all for you in that conference?
Not really. I think that what the Devils needed to do, which I think they did this summer, was lean more into their strengths. I think they tried too much to be more like other teams as opposed to being like themselves, which was successful in 2022-23. Then they saw the Florida Panthers win back-to-back Stanley Cups. And, I think that the regime previous said to themselves, well, how do we be more like them? And they got away from what worked so well, which was a high skill, high speed team that scored on the transition. I think that this, again, with the roster you're seeing come together this summer, I think it's getting back to that a little bit. One of the things is for the Devils, like when they were really good, Dougie Hamilton was their true number one defenseman. Mm-hmm. They didn't really have a number one defenseman last year because, we saw what happened with Dougie where he was scratched and then he wasn't playing all that well. And, a little bit of that off-ice drama. Luke Hughes didn't necessarily take that step forward they were anticipating. So I think they're betting on, a healthy blue line, which two will return them to the status that they were when they were able to transition the puck really well, and they were able to account for offense from the blue line really well. And thus that will account for their transition game being much better than it was last season. So I think that's really what it is that they needed to be more like themselves as opposed to being like a team that had just really previously won the cup. It's a copycat league, but I do think that, some of these rosters, when they're constructed, they're not supposed to be made, maybe like the Florida Panthers or, like the Tampa Bay Lightning. They don't have to be copycats. There's many different ways to win. There's many different ways to score. And so I think they just got too far away from their identity, and they're going to try and get back to that this year.
You mentioned that Meta talked about, hey, I want to build my roster so we can absorb some injuries. The Dougie Hamilton situation, I don't want to get traded. Has that been smoothed over? Has Meta discussed that? Where do you see Hamilton in the future with the Devils?
Yeah, I don't see him going anywhere. If you asked me back in April, I would have told you he's a goner. But when you ask me now, I say I don't see him going anywhere because the Sonny Meta regime just values him differently. They see, he's a guy who obviously had, not too long ago, just a couple of seasons ago, a 75-point season, double-digit goals, and you just can't replace that. He does have that caliber in him still. You saw how well he played. Maybe you didn't, and if you didn't, I'll tell you now. He played extremely well after he was scratched last season, nearly a point per game from January on. And he brought that power play specialty out in him again. He really wasn't a defensive liability like he's been before. So I think with the fact that, he knew last year, maybe they're trying to push me out, they're trying to move me somewhere else, versus coming in this year knowing this regime values me and knows that we can win, I think we're going to see a different defenseman out of him.
Okay. Lastly, let's say we give Carolina the number one spot in the Metro Division. Which team of the other 7 would you feel most confident in saying you think will be number 2?
Good question. I would say Washington. I think they had a fantastic summer. But after that, I think it's pretty close. I think it could be. I think last season for New Jersey was an outlier. I know that they've been hot and cold year after year, but I truly do think that their roster is too good to, not be in the playoff picture like they were last season. I think that it was just an off year for everyone in New Jersey. So I am counting on a bounce back for them. I don't see why they can't take number 2 in the division. And if Carolina is going to be, the Stanley Cup team that they were again next season, I don't see why the Devils can at least give them a run for their money. They forecheck very well, obviously, but I think the Devils are just as fast, and they have honestly better skill players than Carolina does. It's really just about Carolina's structure. So I think the Devils will be up there. I think Washington's going to be a tough team to beat. And then after that in the Metro, I mean, it's really up for grabs.
What do you think is going to be the biggest influence on ice from Meta? And do you think the coaching staff is going to, or their strategy is going to change a bit at all?
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. I want to dive deeper into that one, when training camp comes, just because, it's what's most interesting to me going into the season is that, I feel like Sheldon Keefe's, last shot here. He's had a couple of different cabinets around him season after season in New Jersey.
Yep.
He's got a completely new one this year. The fact is that last year he had a couple of guys on the bench with him that were Tom Fitzgerald guys. The season before that, they were all Tom Fitzgerald guys. Now, Sheldon Keefe has a complete bench next to him to his left and right that he's handpicked himself.
As it should.
So I'm really curious to see how well that goes for him, if it changes anything for him, because I know his philosophy isn't going to change. He likes to be, a defensively responsible team that forechecks really well and then pushes the puck up the ice. And again, last season for the Devils was like a tale of two different seasons. There was the beginning and the end, which were great, and then the middle, which was awful. And the middle kind of extended for a really long time. So if he can get the team back to how it was in the beginning and the end, like I said, I don't see why they can't compete for, first or second in the division. But if they're somewhere in that mushy middle again, like they were last season, then, I think we're going to unfortunately see another disappointing year. It might fall on the goaltending because it's a bit of a question mark right now. But ultimately, I think for Sonny and for Sheldon, I think the bet was, we saw what you did when the team was fully healthy in the beginning of the year. We saw what you did when Jack came back from the Olympic break, and the rest of the team kind of got some rest and became a little bit healthier. We're just going to really, we're going to bet on the core bouncing back. We're going to bet on the core being better than they showed that they were last year, and just adding some depth to that. And I think that's ultimately the bet.
Nico Dawes and Jake Allen look to be I know they got Dave Rittich there as the number 3, but is this the year that Dawes is going to get an opportunity, or do you think, is Jake Allen, is this a 1A, 1B, a split duty? Is Jake Allen going to be a guy? What's your expectations in goal?
Yeah, I think Jake Allen is going to be the guy. If you look at how he played last season, he was in the top 10 in goal save above expected. He was one of the best. I mean, he didn't have the reps that maybe, a Vasilevsky or somebody else in the league has, but certainly he's reliable, and he's going to be probably, out of all of them, he'll get the 40 games as opposed to Dawes, who might get, if he gets 30, and maybe Rittich gets a handful of games thrown at him as well. But I do think Dawes will get a shot. Sonny Meta sounded pretty excited at the opportunity to give him one. And listen, from what I've seen in previous seasons, every time Nico Dawes pulls on a double sweater, he seems to raise his game. Utica has never really been an organization, or an AHL organization that has had overwhelming success. That is something that they are trying to change with the new regime now. But I don't think he ever had a really good team in front of him in the American Hockey League. But I do know that when they drafted him, he was the number 1 North American goaltender of his draft year. There was a reason for that. I think he has a lot of prowess behind him. He had that hip surgery that has made his mobility, he said, from his mouth, he said, my mobility's never been better. And, the couple of samples that I saw from him in previous seasons, he looked really good. I mean, he shut out the Minnesota Wild, or maybe he gave up 1 goal against the Minnesota Wild in one of his starts last season. And down the stretch, the Devils weren't playing their best hockey. They kind of knew that they were out of it, but, he showed me some good poise in the crease. And I think that he has the ability to maybe have a breakout season coming up. I know he was a guy, a lot of people were wondering last summer if he was going to make it through waivers just because of his pure pedigree. I know he was a guy that I think the Oilers were even interested in a little bit to pluck him off of waivers. Ultimately stayed in New Jersey, but I do think he does get a shot this year.
Awesome stuff, man. Great rundown. Really appreciate it. Thanks for your time today, James. Have a good weekend.
Yep. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
There you go. That's James Nickel from New Jersey Hockey Now. Excellent impact of the Devils. Like since that 112-point season, man, they haven't been able to get over 91 points. And that division's wide open after Carolina. I think we'd all agree that Carolina, barring something spectacular, is going to be a playoff team and probably first in their division. But after that, Pittsburgh, Philly, they made the playoffs last year. Then you got the Islanders, the Devils, the Rangers, Columbus, Washington. Like Washington, a lot of people think they'd bounce back. I really like the roster moves they've made, but we'll see if it translates to victories on the ice. We'll come back. We got some stats of the day for you. We'll get to our roundtable. Eddie Steele, Speck, and more on the Gregor Show. Busy Friday edition brought to you by, as always, PlayAlberta.ca.
They're going all out to earn your business at Wolf GMC Buick. Right now, they're seriously overstocked on over 400 pieces of inventory on clearance and ready to move. See for yourself. Click on the clearance tab at wolfgmcbuick.com. And it gets even better. Employee pricing continues with huge cash discounts, 0% purchase financing, and low lease rates on select vehicles. Once again, see their website for details or stop in today. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
It's dollar drink summer at McDonald's. Sip on a refreshing small fountain drink or a small iced coffee for just $1 each plus tax, all summer long. Only at McDonald's. Excludes flavored and cloud iced coffees. At participating Canadian restaurants. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Come on down to the Brick. The Price is Right live event is on now. Enter in-store for your chance to instantly win from over $1 million in prizes. No purchase necessary. Then shop incredible savings throughout the store, like up to $2,220 off select sectionals, up to 40% off select mattresses, up to 20% off select major appliances, and up to $600 off big screen TVs. Plus, finance with 0% interest and equal monthly payments on qualifying purchases. Hurry in before these offers end August 12th. The Brick, saving you more.
Get ready for a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band. Monday, November 30th at Silent Ice Center in Nisku. The Gene Simmons Band, performing your favorite classic hits. Monday, November 30th at Silent Ice Center in Nisku. Tickets on sale now at silenticecenter.com. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is serious about cooling. In fact, we offer multiple ways to cool your home. So you better
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you're looking for traditional air conditioning, we got you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Or ask us about a heat pump to help you heat and cool.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Cool with AC or cool with a heat pump. Cool your home with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Everything is going to be okay. If you're feeling the weight of too much debt, you have options. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. Becoming debt-free is possible, and a personal bankruptcy or a consumer proposal will get you there. Schedule your free Faber Focus session at faber.ca today. You'll learn how a consumer proposal will eliminate your debt by paying a percentage of the amount owed without interest. At Faber, we've got your back.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. The goal of every one of the thousands of hair restoration procedures I've performed is a full, natural-looking head of hair. I work directly with my patients for the consultation, the procedure, and the follow-up, so we can achieve the best results possible. When people see what we accomplish, I don't want them to think, "Wow, great hair transplant." I want them to think, "Wow, great hair." Go to drvanceelliott.com and contact us today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by the Nation Golf Tournament, Friday, August 28th, 2026 at Millwoods Golf Course. Golf, drinks, swag, food, and fun. Every swing supports Gregor's Crowds and helps graduates shine on graduation day. Sign up at nationexperiences.ca before it sells out.
The Jason Gregor Show on Edmonton's go-to station for all things sports is Sports 1440.
Presented by Play Alberta, where Alberta wins with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app.
Here's Jason Gregor.
$3.50 on a lovely Friday afternoon. Hey, your work week's almost over. Hey, maybe being on holidays, just enjoying some downtime. Love it. Have fun. Be smart. All you folkies, have some good decorum at Folk Fest. No tarp battles. Okay, I've learned a lot today, Cons, about folk. Did you know the races used to start at the top of the hill for the tarps?
No.
Now,
it's like the cheese chase.
Yeah. Now, I ran up that hill once, not necessarily the smartest endeavor in my life. We were at a buddy's wedding ceremony reception afterwards, and there was a race. So we had a race all the way to the top of the hill, chug a beer, and then race down. And I'm telling you, running down that hill, when you're trying to pass someone, Cons, I could imagine people carrying, like, with their tarps running. Like, there has to be some epic wipeouts over the years at Folk Fest at the race for your tarp spot. I just assumed that if you won the tarp lottery, you're just getting one of, like, the primo seats. It wasn't then a race to see who was the fastest. So not only did you have to win your name in the draw of the tarp, then you actually had to be the quickest to get the best tarp spot. It's wild to me. So that would have made it more entertaining. I would have wanted to go just to watch that. God, there must have been some epic wipeouts. Some of you must have seen some. Maybe you were part of one. Let us know. Folk Fest. I like it. Now, one other thing today. Coming up on the final Friday of this month, the 28th. So in 3 weeks from today, we have the Oilers Nation Golf Tournament with proceeds going to Gregor's Grads, which is awesome. And, it's a huge fundraiser for us. And we have about 7 foursomes available. So if you'd like one, I'm telling you, it's a super fun tournament. It's Friday morning, 9:00 tee off time. It's like unreal. It's like a perfect time. Maybe you take a weekend starts early for you on a Friday. Get your foursome together and away you go. So if you want to book a foursome, let me know. Text me at 833-401-1440. All the proceeds are going to the Gregor Foundation, Gregor's Grad. So it's a great way to golf. Lots of fun competitions on the course. Great group of people. It's very laid back. It's a super fun tournament, and you can help us out. So we'd like to get those filled. So 833-401-1440. Let me know, and I can send you the link and where you can sign up to play. Now, let's get to our stats of the day, brought to you by All Star Construction. And what do? They are underground utilities specializing in power, gas, telecommunication, and street lighting, and they are hiring. They're looking for backhoe operators, equipment operators, hydrovac operators, construction labor, even a locator. Check it out, Indeed.com, and look up All-Star Construction. Okay? Now, some stats to get to. First of all, this is a pretty big weekend, Cons. I know it was the Hall of Fame game last night, but there's really no one I don't think anyone's questioning going into the Hall of Fame. Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, Roger Craig, Adam Vinatieri. So you got a kicker, you got a running back, you got a receiver, and a QB, and then you throw in a pretty damn good linebacker. Like that's a pretty good draft class. I guess a Hall of Fame class, don't you think?
I would agree. Luke Kuechly was incredible. Could dissect defenses like nobody's business. Didn't play as long as maybe someone have thought, but you're seeing that he and Patrick Willis, incredible careers. Adam Vinatieri winning Super Bowls, 4-time champion. Roger Craig was before my time, and he was
a hell of a player for the 49ers, man.
I always hear the Jerry Rice and the quarterbacks, but you see what he did: 1,000 rushing and receiving yards in a single season. It's incredible. Larry Fitzgerald's my favorite non-Charger of all time, and Drew Brees. Where would he be without the Chargers? Who brought him into the league. So yeah, no, it's one of those classes where there's no debate. There's no doubt about it. These are all incredible players.
And last night they won their 8th in a row. They had to make 5 different come from behind situations to tie the game, and they eventually won it. They being the red hot Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox, they've won 8 in a row. This was after they set a franchise record for the longest winning streak. They've won 31 of their last 36 games. Took them 13 innings. That's one you don't see many 13 inning games anymore with the new rules in Major League Baseball, where the runner starts at second base, at the start of the inning. But I'm telling you, man, this Red Sox team right now, if I was in the AL, I don't want to play them. And they have closed the gap. They currently hold down the second wild card spot, a half a game back of the Yankees. and they have a game in hand. So they'd move into a tie with them. They're still 4.5 back, I think, of Tampa Bay. So still a ways to go there. But you could have the Red Sox and the Yankees right now in the opening round of the playoffs. Crazy. But, man, they are – you win 31 of 36. That is that's a really, really good run that they are on. And I'm kind of curious to watch to see, how much longer they can go with it. Also, if you're a golf fan this weekend, the top 70 golfers after this weekend will advance to the PGA's playoff season. Some of the names on the bubble, the young phenom Jackson Koivu's right there. Brooks Koepka, Keegan Bradley, Jason Day are a few names to watch. I haven't seen how they've done today, but I do kind of like this new format in golf that they adopted here a few years ago. You get into the playoffs. I kind of like it. It's kind of a play down. You know what? It's always been win and you get rewarded, but I kind of like it. Like it a lot, actually. I mean, I find it and I'm not a diehard golf fan, as everybody knows, but I'd probably be just slightly above a casual. Like I watch all the major weekends and then, I'll watch select other ones, obviously Ryder Cup, a few ones like that. But I will say I'll be tuning in a little bit this weekend just to kind of see where some guys are at. Just because they're kind of on the bubble cons. You've got to make or break it. Like the last week in the NHL to see if they're going to do it or not. So few other stats to get to. And we were talking about it, teams, and I asked this earlier, has there been a team over the last 3 years that every year people thought there was high expectations? Oh, they're a playoff team. Oh, they're going to do well in the playoffs. And they never have. And for the last 3 years, I don't know if there's a better team in that regard than the New Jersey Devils. Because over the last 3 years, Connor Halley, combined, the Devils have the 23rd most points in the NHL at 259. Only the Canucks and Flames, Preds, Blue Jackets, Kraken, Ducks, Sharks, Blackhawks have been worse than them. Right? And so further to that, I was looking at a team that's maybe been consistently underwhelming. Detroit would be close, but Detroit, they're always waiting to see, okay, they're finally going to break out. The Devils had their breakout year. They had a 112-point season. Hell of a year. And since then, it's been junk. And so over the last 3 years, they would take the cake. But if we kind of narrow that down now and say over the last few seasons, who goes into that category to say, maybe are the Boston Bruins do good in the regular season, but then not so much in the playoffs. I wonder what's the expectation for the Bruins. If I look at it, can they just make the playoffs? Or does at some point you got to do something more than that if you're the Bruins? Now, they've been such a good team. They always seem to make a cup appearance, almost every decade lately, it seems. So, that might be outlandish for me to claim, but I wonder about Boston. You look at their team, they got obviously one of the top 5 forwards in the game in Pasternak, like Jeremy Swayman, McAvoy. They got some good players, but they just can't seem to get going. So in the playoffs, they're a 100-point team in the regular season, nothing wrong with it, but maybe it's just bad timing. They're in the wrong division. I don't know. New Jersey's in an easier division and they stink. So that's probably been their problem.
Am I crazy to put Winnipeg in that category?
Well, after last year, it's fair, right? It's fair.
One playoff series win in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Twice, over 110 points. Good goalie. Just kind of fell apart in the playoffs. But yeah, they came to mind for me as well.
Well, the Rangers too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because after the Rangers, the last 2 seasons, they've averaged 81 points. Not good enough after you were a President's Trophy winner. So. Yeah, in a 3-year span, I think the Rangers would be right there. And I'm looking quickly at the NHL and going to seeing kind of who you have as far as teams that they have. There's not a lot of faith on the Rangers. Boston, how about this? there's only 2 teams in the Eastern Conference who have longer shot odds of winning the conference than Boston. The Islanders and Detroit. Columbus has a better chance than Boston this year. Now, maybe that's because of their division. I'm guessing that's what's tied into that a little bit, but that's wild. In case you're wondering where the Oilers are, they got the second best odds to finish first in the Western Conference behind Colorado. The Oilers, and I've said this all along, if there was ever a time to put down $5 on the Oilers to end their division drought, I think this would be the year. Longest offseason they've had in years. The team had no major surgeries in the offseason. The healthiest they'll come to camp, barring, some preseason injuries. They got a new coach, and they want to impress it in this group. When they get a new coach, they come out firing. They're also playing last year's worst team in the league twice to start the season. They got a lot of arrows on why they could have a good start, and unless they run into some serious injury problems, I could see them finally ending the drought to win the division. I think there's a really good chance of that. When we come back, Eddie Steele will join us. We got the round table with Declan and Connor Halley. Also, Spec, LT, and more. But first, let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Sean Cunningham of RE/MAX Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're looking or buying, check out Sean. Give him a call, 780-265-0165. That's Sean Cunningham, RE/MAX Real Estate.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Week 10, the CFL rolling on tonight. Riders, Red Blacks from Saskatchewan. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock tomorrow. Doubleheader, Edmonton in Montreal at 1. Then at 5 o'clock, it's BC taking on Hamilton. Major League Baseball, Jays and Phillies. 4:40 start time. We'll join it in progress following the Jason Gregor Show on our AM feed at 6 o'clock. Elsewhere, Mets taking on the Pirates. Nationals host the Reds. The Braves in the Bronx taking on the Yankees. White Sox, Guardians, Cubs, Royals, Rangers get the Orioles. Dodgers head to the desert to take on the Diamondbacks, and the Mariners hosting the Rays. Off the field, the Athletics making a change in the front office, announcing the departure of general manager David Forst earlier today. The A's currently sitting 45-70. That's 4th spot in the AL West, set to miss the playoffs for the 6th consecutive season. The Tennessee Titans have signed left guard Peter Skronsky to a 4-year, $100 million contract extension worth $88 million. That makes him the highest paid guard in the NFL. And Canadian junior football this weekend, the Huskies hosting the Colts on Saturday at 7. Then on Sunday, it's Wildcats hosting Regina. That one will get going at 1. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Grey Cup champion Eddie Steele. We'll ask 5 questions and get to the roundtable. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Day or night, tasting just right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
At GS Construction, we won't quit until we find a way to get the job done. And the right person makes all the difference. We're looking for our next superintendent, an experienced leader ready to take on the role. Because while GS Construction is building the water, sewage, and drainage systems Edmonton communities rely on, the superintendent is building up the team. If you know how to keep a job site safe, productive, and moving, we want to hear from you. Visit gsconstruction.ca/careers today.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
If you've got a smart speaker, get it to play Sports 1440.
And it doesn't matter when you listen as we roll out the Sports Talk
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Edmonton's home for sports radio is Sports 1440.
Mr. Rooter cries like a little tiny baby child.
Hey, Mr. Rooter, you've got a package from Mrs. Rooter.
Aw, the card says
Thank you for our unbreakable bond. You're the pro press fitting to my copper pipe.
Ooh, what's in the package, Mr. Reuter?
Let's see. It's a Plumbus 2000 spud wrench. She knew I'd never buy one for myself.
Just like tears. It's flowing or it's free with Mr. Reuter.
I love that woman.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
Feeling overwhelmed by debt? Concerned about what the next few weeks or months will bring for your finances? My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. You don't have to navigate this alone. Together, we can review your options and build a personalized plan to reduce your payments and get you out of debt, so you can breathe again. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to book your free consultation and discover your debt-free future.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Fundraise for your team or charity at On the Rocks. They'll make custom tickets for the event that include no line, cover, and one drink for the event. You keep the profits. Learn more at ontherocksyeg.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
It's after 4 o'clock. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger with you halfway through the show. Hey, maybe your weekend already started. It's 4 o'clock. Make the most of it, boys and girls. Have a good time. Be smart. Pace yourselves. Please, whatever you do, don't drink and drive. Don't be inebriated. Get home safe and sound. And also recommend, because I just saw, I was riding my bike the other day by the hospital, and I bumped into a friend of mine who works there and was chatting. I just asked him about what do you think the number one increase in injuries is from? Scooters, cons, and lots of adults, not just the kids. Adults making bad decisions on the scooter. At bare minimum, wear a helmet, but try to be smarter. Not a good look. Not a good look. It is the Gregor Show, is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's one-stop shop for casino, live dealer, lottery, instance, and more. PlayAlberta.ca. It's time now to get to the roundtable, brought to you by Go Auto. You're thinking about it. Don't wait. Check it out this weekend. GoAuto.ca. They got 73 locations. They got over 17,000 new or used vehicles for you to choose from. Any color, any type, they got it. Check it out. GoAuto.ca. And we will go to Declan Kruger out of the gate today. D-Man, what is it?
Yeah, I was thinking about this one. Thought earlier and wanted to get your guys' take on it. I think Kevin Durant is the best player in the four major sports that we cover to, at no point in his career, have been considered the best player in the world. I think there are some really good arguments for some guys right now in the NHL, like Nathan McKinnon and Nikita Kucherov. Obviously, Connor's had that moniker. Drew Brees comes to mind for the NFL, although positional value there a little bit different. Marcel Dion, what he was doing back in the early 80s and putting up all those points. But, of course, it was Gretzky. And then baseball I'm not as familiar with. But Kevin Durant, best player to never have been considered the best player in the world.
Talking all time?
Yeah. But I am 17.
No, so my bias immediately goes back to Brady and Manning playing at the same time, and only one of them could have been the best in the world.
I think they almost might have had years where people did flip-flop it. Like no one ever.
No, they did.
Yeah, right. Like no one
So
ever.
you're saying it never, no point, no one's ever looked at Durant as the best player in the world,
Right?
Even when he was winning rings.
because no one viewed that as his team.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And then even when he won his MVP, it was almost like I fully think he deserved it. Don't get me wrong at all. I totally think he deserved that MVP. Put up 32 a night on an incredible efficiency. But like everyone knew LeBron was the best player in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to come up with someone from another sport, but like you say, if I go Peyton and Brady, there was times where they would have flip flopped, and you might have said, "Well, they won the Super Bowl. He's the better player. He got his team there." Ooh, man, we got to go back deep into history with this one. I guess for the time being, I would have to say you're probably right here. If we go back into the NHL way back in the day, I mean, was there a time someone just kind of played second fiddle but was incredible? Maybe. I got to do some research here.
Yeah, there's a few in basketball, like Charles Barkley in his prime, right? Because there was MJ. Barkley was really good, but he couldn't beat MJ. Like if we go way back in time, and I remember reading this in a baseball book, and they were talking about Ernie Banks and how great Ernie Banks was, but because he played in the Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle era, he kind of got overshadowed. Now, I know that's going way back in time. I think he would be one. If we look at it more recently, I think of Jenny Malkin in his prime years in Pittsburgh was unreal. And you look at his performances in the playoffs, you look at he won a Hart, he's won a scoring title, but he never ever, got considered. Heck, I might even argue Ovi. Right? I might argue Ovi because everybody was like, well, and the truth of the matter is, being Canadian in North America, and Crosby was good, don't get me wrong, but Ovechkin was damn good. And he stayed healthier, right or wrong. He was available all the time. And I think do I look at Ovi in his sport and say Ovi is going to be in the hierarchy of all-time greats, higher in hockey than Kevin Durant will be in basketball? I think he might be.
I think I would agree with that as well. You don't think after that 65 to 56 goal back-to-back season, people were like, okay, we'll take him over Crosby. And then Crosby kind of retook the throne before Connor came and took it from both of them.
Yeah, if it was a short window, because Crosby in that time was, Crosby started his career with 400-point seasons in 5 years. And the only year he didn't get it is because he got hurt, right? And he won a cup. And because he had won a cup early, people always, want to anoint that with more value. You got to remember, Ovi there was talk more about Jonathan freaking Taves for a time being the best player in hockey, which to me, no offense to Jonathan Taves, it was the dumbest argument ever, in my opinion, ever. Wasn't even close to it. Sorry, not even close. He was like a good two-way player that suddenly, which is basically that you're not great enough to be an elite offensive player, so now we give you the mantle of best two-way player. Sorry, that's what they get. But Ovi might be the guy that I put on that list.
I can rock with that.
I think so, yeah. Because I think no matter throughout his career, someone always would have said, nope, it's Crosby. Whether it was a little bias or the truth, I think that would always have been kind of the sentiment. So that's a good one, Deck. I'm going to turn my attention to the NFL today. I don't know if you guys saw it. A little bit of a fight today at Raiders practice with Max Crosby dropping a few hits on Kirk Cousins. He didn't like this. People, of course, always up in arms when this happens. That's the social media age we live in. But I love this. I think this is absolutely awesome when two vets on that team, the leader of the offense, the leader of the defense, after 8 days of practice where you're only hitting each other, finally had that breaking point. Do you want to see them getting into that level of fisticuffs? You don't want punches thrown, but it doesn't look like any of that happened. It was just two guys getting emotional, offense taking their quarterback side, defense following Max Crosby. You can try to spin this into a bad thing, but I love this out of Raiders practice. I think this is just what happens when the emotions are flying high in camp. I can't find a bad thing about it. I think it's good.
I don't love it because the Raiders are in such a poor situation organizationally. Kirk Cousins is the bridge of bridge quarterbacks. Matt Crosby is their stud, but he also, did he kind of want to leave? They were going to trade him. It didn't end up playing out. If this was, the Rams or Tom Brady's Patriots or, a prime Mahomes' Chiefs, I would say, hey, yeah, love the intensity. To me, with where this organization is at, it just screams dysfunction.
This team needs this, though. They need to come together. This is the worst team in football last year. I don't think those teams would do that because they're
But I also don't view this as coming together. I look at this as Max Crosby being like, oh, another garbage quarterback wasting away my prime years. that I just have to put up with.
You don't think it unifies the defense and the offense separately? Not together as a whole, but together as that unit?
I just don't love the idea. I mean, maybe in a vacuum, yeah. I just don't love the idea of my star player going after my quarterback and there being a rift between those two.
That's fair.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind here is that Kirk Cousins clearly was listening to the Jonah Hill interview and now feels he's way tougher than he is. Right? So that'd be the first thing that comes to mind here is Kirk Cousins like, yeah, Crosby, no, I would destroy you. God, that made me laugh about Jonah Hill. But anyway, you know what? I don't have a big issue with it. Usually there's a flare up. Now, I can't remember the last time it involved a quarterback. That's the part that I find intriguing. And you know what? Maybe, I don't know, was Cousins saying something? Who knows? Because I know that, you know, they deem the quarterbacks like they treat them like porcelain dolls that no one can ever touch them. Oh my God. I know a guy, like, if you come too close to his throwing hand, people are freaking out over it. So, and I get it because, you know, quarterbacks are important, so I understand it all. But I do think at times it's a little bit too much for me. So I don't have an issue with it. Do I think it's going to help them a lot on the field? Probably not, only because they need so much help that, you know, it ultimately might not matter. But guys getting fired up after a week of practice, sure, I'm sure they're veterans and they'll they'll kiss and make up and they'll move on from it. But here's my question: does it change anything? The Raiders, are they winning more than 4 games?
That's what I was gonna say. Like, does this rift take them from a 4-13 team to 13-4 because the chemistry is now there? Like, no way.
No, but that's not what I said.
Does it take them? Does it give them 2 more wins? Never. I'm not going to say they're playoff. I just, you know what, Colin, good. Maybe they're trying to show some fighting spirit, but and good for the veterans. I don't have an issue with it, but ultimately I'm not sure it's going to do much in their season. But I also don't think it's a negative. Like, if they didn't happen, I don't think they'd be better off either, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I see this pop off every year, and people get mad. It's like, one, like I said, day 8 of camp, they're probably pissed off. They're sick of doing this against the same old players every game, every single day. It's hot in Nevada. That heat probably doesn't help either. And Max Crosby plays on the edge, so I like it from Kirk O'Two-Chains stepping up for himself, maybe getting those offensive linemen to fight the battle for him a little bit here. And who knows, ramp the intensity up. The Raiders need it. It's not going to make them any worse.
Are they going to be the worst team in football this year?
No.
Who's going to be worse?
Cards, Dolphins, Jets, I think, will battle for the worst team.
I agree with those 3. My mind goes to the Cardinals. Jacoby Brissett held you hostage. Like, what are we doing here?
Beck looked okay last night. I want that QB battle. Beck versus Brissett.
What? Come on.
I mean, listen, they need to draft a quarterback next fall or next spring, so it really doesn't matter for this year.
Is there a quarterback already that you think is a go-to for next year?
I looked into a mock draft from last year at this time. Fernando Mendoza wasn't even a first-round pick. So we could say Arch Manning or Dante Moore, but Deck, do you have any dark horses?
Yeah, those would be the 2 that come to mind. Sam Levitt in LSU is the other one, probably. Darian Mensah, maybe, at Miami. But you're like, so much can change.
Yeah. So that's my point. Like, you can have a bad season, but your odds of getting a great quarterback are, you know what? Like, if they're that great, they'd kind of be noticeable now, would they not? Or could not much change in 1 year?
Well, I think in years past it has. I mean, Trevor Lawrence for 2 years was probably considered consensus #1 overall pick. Joe Burrow.
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams is a good one. Arch Manning is kind of the next one, but like we say, things could change. Who's the Ohio State guy?
Julian Sayin.
Maybe he's one. But yeah, it's funny. I looked at the mock draft I looked at had the Garrett Nussmeier and Drew Aller, the top 2 of the top 3 quarterbacks. Not even first-round picks. So
yeah, they just sold me a car this past weekend, actually.
Love it. When we come back, speaking of a greasy salesman, Eddie Steele will join us here on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk, family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice. EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365. UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking. Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service. Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project. Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact because our team is built on second chances and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Gregor for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
It's cone season at McDonald's, which means vanilla cones are $1 each plus tax in the McDonald's app all summer long. Soft, creamy, and crunchy. For just $1 each plus tax exclusively in the McDonald's app. App download and registration required at participating McDonald's in Canada.
It might have been scraped by the snowblower, dented while door crashing, or crunched at the company Christmas party. At some point over the winter, your car was damaged and it's been hiding under a coat of winter grime.
Then come and see Robertson Body Works. We can take care of the damage and the dirt. This week only, call and book a repair and get a complete auto detailing absolutely free.
But you have to book your appointment before the week is up. Go to robertsonbodyworks.com.
I'm Tim Robertson, and I fix cars.
School's almost out, and road trip season is just around the corner. But if your brakes sound like they're grinding harder than a hockey fourth liner, it might be time to visit Napa Auto Parts. Napa has all the quality parts, tools, and know-how to help keep your vehicle running smoothly and road ready. With over 85 locations in Alberta, visit your local Napa store today or shop online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
Ford employee pricing is back at Nisku Ford. Pay the same as Ford Motor Company employees. Plus, get the benefits of being a Nisku Ford customer. You'll have the best selection of new Ford vehicles from our great lineup of SUVs, from Bronco Sports and Explorers right up to the Ford Expedition, and Ford trucks from the Ford Maverick, Ranger, F-150, and Super Duty. Ford employee pricing is the biggest event on the Nisku Ford calendar. But hurry, it won't last forever, and inventory is limited. Take advantage of employee pricing today at Nisku Ford. Above expectations.
It's Dollar Drink Summer at McDonald's. Sip on a refreshing small fountain drink or a small iced coffee for just $1 each plus tax, all summer long. Only at McDonald's. Excludes flavored and cloud iced coffees. At participating Canadian restaurants. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantor. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at Cantor.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
.424 as we continue on. Positive Friday, the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Lotto Max tonight, $25 million. Good luck, as well as 25 $100,000 prizes. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. As it's time now to go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, 4 divisions with project service testing and residential. Their testing includes infrared and ultrasonic testing, arc flash studies, and energize or de-energize testing of electrical systems. actionelectrical.net. We go in the room with Grey Cup champion. Of course, he's a co-host on the Elks Nation podcast, as well as Mornings with Tom Gazzola. Eddie Steele joins us. E-Man, how you doing?
Jason, how you doing, my brother?
I am good. Let's get to, I want to ask your thoughts, Eddie, on the 35-second play clock and how much you think that has impacted the increased scoring. Because I was watching closely, and I've watched it a little bit lately, that quarterbacks, especially the veteran guys, get up to the line of scrimmage, and they're audibling a lot more here. And teams are coming out of the huddle quicker. They're getting to the line of scrimmage, and it's allowing to see what the defense has more. Do you think there's validity to that, or is that just the offense? It's just been one of those years where the offense is winning.
No, I think there is validity to that, and that's very astute of you to notice that. And what I've noticed is early in the year, offenses actually were getting behind that play clock because it happens quick and it gets going on you. And they were behind the play clock, and actually we're seeing some delay of game penalties. And I believe that the coaches have adjusted to that, have their offense, the coaches are getting the play called in quicker, so then the offense, the quarterback, can get up to the line of scrimmage faster and then navigate that, see what the defense is laying out in front of them. And I really do believe that the play clock has helped the game for sure. I'm not going to say that's the reason that we're seeing, an offensive explosion in the output that we are, but it does allow for offenses to maybe run a couple more plays a game, which in turn, throughout the course of a game and course of a season, more plays you run, more opportunity you get. So I do think it has helped to a degree.
Okay, fair enough. The Elks, Nick Anderson's coming back, but David Beard's coming back, and they got to get their running game going here, Eddie. It has not been good for multiple weeks, and I think it's a combination of all the injuries, changes on the O-line. I think Rankin has to own some of it. I find he's stutter-stepping a little bit too much at times, and maybe just because there's no hole there at all, so he's trying to hope that one comes available, which I understand. But how much of an impact do you think Beard can have on the run game?
It should help because David Beard, that's your starting center who won the job coming out of camp. And I think highly of David Beard when he's out there and this whole offensive line unit is actually playing together. We have seen them have the success, but there's been a lot of injuries over the course of the last 5 or 6 weeks. And then, we see the correlation with Rankin getting stuffed up. Now, as you actually were just posing this question, it just dawned on me, as I think we got lulled into Justin Rankin because of how good he started the season. Let's not get it twisted on some of the runs he was ripping off. It's not like he was getting up to the second level untouched. A lot of his spectacular runs through the first 4 weeks of the season, he had to make so many guys miss in the backfield. So it's not like he's been getting a ton of help actually throughout the course of the season. Now that I really think of it, we're just so accustomed to him making 5 or 6 guys miss, but that's not sustainable. So he does need to get more help from the unit up front, which, not to dog on them. They've been so far much more improved than where they were at last year. But yeah, the run game has been irrelevant the past month, and they do need to get that going because they can't only lean on Cody Fajardo and his arm.
Yeah. From a defensive standpoint, what do you see from Montreal? How can you slow down Alexander and the running attack's good. Their passing attack's unreal. How do you slow them down?
Well, we had Sean Campbell on this morning on the Tom Gazzola Show, play-by-play guy for TSN out there for Montreal to cover in the games and on the radio. And he mentioned that, and we didn't even realize that because their depth chart came out so early. There's a lot of injuries on defense. For example, Mustafa Johnson, stalwart defensive tackle number 94 for Montreal. He's out of the game. I want to say Kavion Ento's out of the game. There's a handful of significant players that are hurt. So offensively, you have to attack them. You have to establish yourself. And I know that's cliche to say, but you have to do what you have to do in the trenches in order to get into those second and favorable positions. And you have to lean on some bodies up front, especially David Beard, who's up elevated in the lineup. And then the 2 guards that we have, Carter O'Donnell, he's now back and healthy coming off of that injury as well. So these guys have to go and establish themselves up front. Defensively, you can limit Montreal here, Jason. I don't know if you can stop them, so to speak. That's something that Deck and I have been chatting about on the Elks Nation podcast is can you necessarily stop Davis Alexander? I don't think so because there's so many explosive players that they have on their offense. And I would like to see a lot of attention on Philpott. And for me personally, going into the game, if I was a defensive coach, I would say anybody but Philpott. And I would do anything possible to limit Philpott and not let them live and breathe through him offensively, because when he starts getting going in the screen game and then all of a sudden he pops you over the top for a long 20-yard pass, that's when Montreal truly finds their momentum. Don't let them go to Philpott early and often.
Well, I think they're going to have to do, and J.J. Ross and Ford, I think you got to play flex coverage a little bit more here, and they got to find a way to disrupt the timing between the quarterback and receivers.
Yes, no doubt about that. And I love that you just name dropped those two players for the Double E, because this is going to be such a challenge for them. And they're up for the challenge because, in my opinion, these are some of the premier players at their positions in the league. So J.J. Ross and Tyrell Ford, what's going to be unique about this battle is it's not just your normal aerial attack. Oh, we have to go and cover this pretty boy receiver. No, Philpott gets gritty in the run game as a blocker. He gets gritty in the screen game. And what I love about it is how gritty and strong-minded this defensive back unit is, because they're not scared of the contact. So it's really who's going to come out, more physical on the end of this battle, because Montreal is known to be tough-nosed. This Edmonton defense is the best defense in the league. And, the best defense in the league is actually led by its cornerback unit.
Yeah, well, hey, their secondary after a few weeks of not getting picks, now it's like almost every game they're getting multiple ones. I know it's almost a week ago, but what was your biggest takeaway from the game against the Riders?
I just talked about it, man. Honestly, you played Saskatchewan 2 games really tight. You came out ahead of the first one by 2 points. You lost the next one by 2 points. So you can't even complain, if, ands, or nothing. It was such good football, quality football. What stood out to me initially, Jason, the eyeball test, was the way the defense for the Double E played. It's so reminiscent of when we won a Grey Cup. In fact, it might even be better the way these guys are coming downhill, finishing plays. It's not just one guy. One guy does his job and holds up the momentum of the offensive player, but then it's the second and the third guy who are coming to kill. And that is such a trained thing that they are totally getting from Coach Aaron Grimes and J.C. Sherritt, because I played with these guys, and that's how we were coached. And those guys were the catalyst of our strong defenses like that. So to see how the defense has now accepted and adopted it now, a decade plus later, because of those two players who represent and signify everything that Bone is, that stood out to me the most, Greggs.
Okay. Any concern? Like, I know, like, Cody Fajardo said, oh, people are talking about it too much. And I'm like, yeah, because it's a problem. Like, no one's been in the red zone more than the Elks. 60 trips to the red zone, which is great. But, like, I would look back at that last game, and really, all you got to do is score one extra time in the red zone rather than settle for a field goal and you win the game. So, like, their lack of ability to push the ball in when they're in the red zone, where does it rank for you as a concern?
It's up there for sure, because there has been multiple games now where you're getting into the red zone. I believe Edmonton, I forget what the exact statistic is, but they've run the most plays in the red zone offensively, but they have the least touchdowns to show for it. So, that is an ongoing concern. They do need to finish these drives in the red zone. Something else that's of concern to me that, is becoming an ongoing trend and something that really needs to get nipped in the butt, and that's penalties, man.
Oh, yeah.
And I love Coach Killam. I have never played for him, but I'm buying what he's selling. I'd run through a wall for him. I jive. He's just the type of coach that I really would love to play for. But it starts with him, man. And the discipline starts with him. You can't be getting penalties from the bench. The undisciplined penalties, that starts with the coaching, and you from the top down got to get that nipped in the butt in order. Not to single out Noah Taylor, but to get thrown out of a game, coming away with 2 penalties, but those penalties came on PATs. Like, yeah. That's just, you got to get these players to be way more controlled mentally and composed, because it makes me sick to my stomach, Jason, to get thrown out of a football game Not even penalties on football plays, but on PATs? Come on, man. You got to be way smarter than that. And what's more disappointing, you're the starting defensive end. You're not a role player. Yeah. You're a starter on the defense, someone who you're the leading sack getter at 3 sacks on the season. They need you, so you got to be way smarter than that. On that last drive, I'm not going to say that it was the penalties that did him in, but Fox with that late hit on the quarterback, that was so far gone that no need to hit him and bring him down. Way too late. That was a dumb penalty, man. And then Malik Carney getting into a wrestling match later down on that same drive. Just undisciplined penalties, and unfortunately, that's 3 defensive linemen I just had to name. And these guys, you know, at the position, they just got to wise up and get smarter, man.
Yeah, they have to be more composed, right? I had Jason Moss on the show yesterday. It was a fantastic interview. If you missed it, Moss had some great things to say. Check it out at our YouTube page, or you can go to jasongregor.com. But he talked about how him as a coach, he goes, you know what? Like my fire burns just as bright. I just outwardly don't show it as often. If I'm frustrated, I don't show it. And that's something that you don't have. And he's still fire on the sidelines. It's just not as often, right? And I think from he talked about how as the coach, I have to set the tone, right? And so that comes down to coaching staff. Stop yelling at the refs, right? You don't agree with the call. You got to learn to bite your tongue, because this team now, when you see that, it's no different than a kid. If the parents are always yelling and screaming when something goes wrong, guess what? The kids do it, right? They mirror your actions. And I think that the coaching staff has to get a little bit of control at times, not in the fun emotion. And you can be fired up and you want to jump and chest pump all day long. It's the yelling at the officials. I just think that isn't good. Like Carney, I watched the replay of that. Like, stupid. It was a little bit of a wrestling match. Like, just let it go. The play's over. You just stuffed them.
Exactly.
Right? Like, there was no need for it. Like, they're not controlling their the minute something doesn't go our way, we got to react.
In sport, this translates to any sport, Jason. I don't care what it is. The second guy always gets caught. The first guy never is the guy who's doing the dirty stuff. It's always the person who retaliates that gets the penalty. And I'll say this about the penalties. I have all the time in the world for penalties that happen during the play of a game, pass interference, holding, all of that. I have all the time in the world. It's the mental ones, the lapses where you lose your mind, yapping or touching a referee after the play is done. Can't do it. Got to sharpen up on that end, which I am fully confident that they will, because you know what? This team has risen to every challenge, and they've got better at every turn where they have had areas of concern. And I fully know that they will nip this in the bud.
Eddie, what's your expectations for tomorrow?
I think it's going to be, people are going to be walking out of that game in body bags. I really do, on both sides of it. I'm not out here hoping for injuries, but I think it's going to be that physical of a football game. It's going to be somewhat of a playoff type of a feel. Just every inch, every yard is going to count. And I think it's going to be a tight game. Now, I don't have any feel either way, because you look at Edmonton and how they're in games. They haven't been blown out or anything. No. They're 6-2 in every game that they're, really in, except for when they're ahead significantly, is a tight game. So I fully expect a tight game, because going even back to the 1917 win against BC, then a couple of 2-point games against Saskatchewan either way. So I think that, and the first Montreal game, a 3-point game. So I think it's going to be, again, a tight ball game, could go either way. And that's what you want to see, is just a competitive football game, just showing that this team can battle with anybody in the league.
Now, which extra small shirt are you wearing tomorrow?
Oh, well, man, you say these are extra small, but when you're as jacked as me, it's not my fault I make a 2XL look like a medium. They call me the Diesel.
Oh, I love it. Eddie, great stuff, buddy. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the game tonight, and then a doubleheader tomorrow.
All right, guys. Enjoy your Friday.
There you go. That's Eddie Steele from Elks Nation, of course, Sports 1440. He's in really good shape, though, dude. Good for him. He is not retirement has not got the best of him by any stretch of the imagination. Take a quick break. We'll come back. We got 5 questions and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Tap into the fun of Play Alberta's most popular casino games. From the fast-paced spins of Cash Eruption to the retro thrills of Sevens Wild, online excitement is always at your fingertips. Spin through your choice of popular slots or discover Alberta exclusive games you won't find anywhere else. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The Ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the Ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
You want it? We got it. At Harley-Davidson of Edmonton, we have a huge bike inventory just waiting for you to ride. We're not a car dealer. We're your local family bike shop. We are riders supporting riders. Come find your dream bike here at Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail, locally owned and operated since 1980. Find us at hdedmonton.com.
Come on down to the Brick. The Price is Right live event is on now. Enter in-store for your chance to instantly win from over $1 million in prizes. No purchase necessary. Then shop incredible savings throughout the store, like up to $2,220 off select sectionals, up to 40% off select mattresses, up to 20% off select major appliances, and up to $600 off big screen TVs. Plus, finance with 0% interest and equal monthly payment on qualified purchases. These offers end August 12th. The Brick, saving you more.
Are you a skilled laborer? All Star Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience? All Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience searching for work, search All Star Construction on Indeed.
Photographers, start your cameras. Vision Credit Union's annual photo contest is back. We're asking you to show us the people, places, and moments that made you glad you chose this rural life. Maybe it's the view from your farm, a walk down Main Street, neighbors pitching in, a weekend at the rodeo, or a sunset down a back road. Share your photo to show why life in rural Alberta is a choice worth celebrating. Enter and vote at whatsyourshare.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is serious about cooling. In fact, we offer multiple ways to cool your home. So you better
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you're looking for traditional air conditioning, we got you.
Call Legacy.
Or ask us about a heat pump to help you heat and cool.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Cool with AC or cool with a heat pump. Cool your home with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Emerald Equipment. Emerald Equipment is Edmonton's newest dealer for Yanmar compact equipment. Machines built tough for the jobs that don't quit. Get your new Yanmar compact track loaders with ASV Posi-Track at Emerald Equipment.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.444. Welcome back, Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, as well as thanks for you listening on TuneIn or iHeart Radio Player. Maybe you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, Twitch. Thanks so much. However you consume the show, we very much appreciate you being along for the hour or all 4 hours for you diehards. We love it. It's a Gregor Show, is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. And hey, if you looking for some luck tonight, I'm telling you, Nathan Rourke is back. That's our lock. BC Lions to cover over the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who are going to be starting their 4th different QB this season. Woo-hoo. Tough times in Hamilton. Rourke comes back. I like the Lions a lot in that game. A lot. Let's get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick, where the price is right. Baby, you could win, scratch and win, to win massive prizing. And also get huge deals. Mattresses, 40% off. You can save over $2,200 on sectionals and more. Check it out at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. You got the Elks and the Owls tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Who is winning? And throw in a bold prediction as well.
Ooh. Man, I don't know. I think it's tough to win in Montreal. Now, the injuries to the Owls defense definitely, I think, increased chances. But until I see the Elks offense have, because even when they beat Saskatchewan, they beat them on big plays, guys. They didn't beat them by scoring from the red zone, right? They scored 81-yarder, 57-yarder, 6. So, yeah. I got to see it to believe it. So I'm going to say Elks lose. Bold prediction, though. Elks defense, pick 6.
All right. I'm going to say the Elks do get the job done. Alouettes' run defense hasn't been top of the pack, middle of the pack. Still top 5, I think, in a 9-team league. But I'm going to say that the Elks find a way to get the job done. They get the running game back on track, and Elks find a way to win 28-24. And with that, if you're going to pick 6, I'll say Rankin finds the end zone twice. Kind of gets that first 3 game form once again. Question number 2. Who's your biggest X factor in this game?
I'm going to go with Malik Carney. They have to, and not just about pressure, but they have to find a way to keep Alexander in the pocket, because he becomes extremely dangerous when he gets outside, because he's so accurate as a thrower outside the pocket. So I'm going to go with Carney.
Great pick. That would have been my second one, but I'll go with Ford or Ross, whoever ends up getting that coverage with Philpott. This guy's unbelievable. And they're going to take their shots at him. He's such a big playmaker in the CFL. So I think the outside corners are going to have their hands full. You play good against them, you got a chance in this one for sure. Question number 3 for you. We discussed the Rams earlier on in this show. Where would you rank them in terms of NFL defenses this year? And if it's not them, who do you have at number 1?
Cons, go ahead.
For me, it's the Houston Texans is my number 1 defense. That group that they have is just incredible. We know about the edge rushers with Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter. They can rush. They also drafted Caden McDonald. They brought back Jadeveon Clowney. That front 4 has a potential to be unbelievable, but then on the back end as well. Derek Stingley, they've got Kamari Lassiter, who they drafted a couple years ago. They've really built up this defense very, very well. And then they brought in Reed Blankenship, who's a smart player from the Philadelphia Eagles. So I will say they're number 1 in terms of the LA Rams. It's going to be really good. I'll throw them at 3 right now.
Yeah, that's a good one with Houston. Their defense looks really good. But I don't want to copy, but I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos. Right? I know they lost Franklin Myers, but they're still loaded with Allen and Bonatito, Cooper. Nobody had more sacks than them last year. They get a ton of pressure. How about the former CFLer Alex Singleton, who's had himself a hell of a career in the NFL? Him and Sternad will come in to even bolster more their linebacking core. So I'm going to go with the Broncos.
That's who I had too. Rounding up my top 3. Honorable mention too, I'd say probably the Eagles and the Seahawks as well. Seahawks defense can be quite good. Question number 4. What's going to happen today at the Hlinka Gretzky between Canada and Finland, and who do you think will win it all?
Man, these semis are tough. But hey, it's positive Friday. It's not even a question mark. I'm going Canada to Canada's going to win the whole tournament, Cons.
I'm with you. The United States beat Slovakia earlier today 5-2, so they're going to be going to the final. Let's roll with Canada to get the job done. The young generation, there's a lot of good players there. I'll take Canada to win the tournament and Canada to win here 5-3 with an empty netter. Final question for you today. It is International Beer Day. So in honor of that, give me your top 3 cold ones.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not drinking them like I used to. That's for sure. I know this will be unpopular, but I never minded a nice Coors Light, the Silver Bullet. So I'll put that at 3. Number 2, I always like to order these when I was out at the bar. The Hoegaarden, the Belgian beer. I wasn't the riskiest beer drinker, but I always liked that one because it came in a huge glass. And then number 1, give me the stubby can, Red Stripe.
Wow.
But I am not like, you have had, I would say, a lot of good ones come in here on Thirsty Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I am a rookie when it comes to consuming beers. So there's probably a lot of good ones out there.
Well, the Orville Trappist Ale out of Belgium's probably one of my favorites. I like a good Guinness, man. I really do now. Love Guinness. Never really liked it younger, but now I love it. Very good. But obviously, Turquoise, the Scottish beer that we tried about a month ago, Cons, game changer for me. So those would be those. I'm definitely more into to darker beers now, although there are dark lagers, but I like ales better still. I like it a lot. And there's like I was talking to Steven the other day, and he's got a few other beers coming in. There's the one that I wanted to the world's best classic Pilsner beer. I was reading an article about this Waldus. Like Germany has some really good beers too. So we'll have some of those coming up soon. So I like it. Nothing like a good one to just sit back and relax. Like you know what? It all depends on where you're at. If you like to just have one where you really just want to enjoy the taste of it, it's different. Now, if I'm looking and you're on a golf game or something where you're there, it's not so much about a flavor. Is it just about super cold? Which one tastes cold? It's kind of like you're just your feel good one. So it's very different for me. But I like I'm more into the kind of sipping and enjoying a beer now than I am just crushing beers. I still crush beer like once or twice a year, but I do like the sippers now more for sure. It's awesome. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We got a lot of these other. Actually, you know what, Cons? What I want to get to do? Can we have that Cody Fajardo? I want to listen to. I want you to hear from the QB of the Elks, Cody Fajardo, before we get to Spec and LT. Caught up with Cody yesterday at practice, and looking at kind of where the Elks are. I asked kind of Fajardo about he feels like the red zone offense, maybe people are talking about a little bit too much at times. So we got into that and just kind of their mentality as a team now that, hey, you know what? It's us against them. And, Montreal is looking for a really good test.
It's sometimes you get in these games and you feel like it, and then you get on there. Every game's its own entity. Sometimes, our defense has it figured out, and our job is to score more points than them. If it's 60, it's 60. If it's 13, it's 13. So that's what my message to the guys was. I don't want them to get caught up in trying to press. If they're scoring and we're just trying to catch up, that's not how our offense is built. We're not built on throwing the ball down the field. We're built on 6, 7, 8 play drives methodically down the field. But a good part to help our defense out is putting together long drives and allowing their offense to sit on the sideline, try not to go 2 and out, try to keep them out of rhythm. And that helps our defense take the field fresh. And also they don't have that rhythm where they feel like everything's going their way. So for us, we're just excited about the opportunity. Like you said, I told the guys this week, I said, this is almost a mini playoff run where you're playing a Saskatchewan team in the Western final. And now you're going to play Montreal in like a Grey Cup simulator. So it's good for our young guys to get that experience with these big time games. And we're excited about the challenge. We have a really good roster, a really good football team, and Montreal is really good at home. So something's got to give, and we just got to play clean football and execute our game plan.
You mentioned it's not your offense to have big plays, but you went in Saskatchewan and you crushed them with some big plays. And, you've had Rankin early in the season, had lots of 60-yard plays. So you're capable of doing that for sure. Is it a matter of just, mixing it in more often to have a few more big plays, do you think? Is that possible?
Well, I would say more like we're explosive wise, we're one of the top teams in the league in coming with explosion plays. But in terms of like pushing the ball down the field, that's never been my game, never been my strength. If I have to do it and people are stacking the box like they did in SAS, of course we're going to do it and show teams around the league that I can still do it. I just find that the risk versus reward when you push the ball down the field, obviously every fan loves it, but when you go 2 and out because you're not hitting on those, the score can get out of hand quite quickly. And also, you want to find a way to be as balanced as possible. I think our offense is at its best when we're running the ball, when we're throwing the ball, when we're play actioning. That's when we're at our best. When we have to just turn into all running the ball or all throwing the ball, that's when we have a tough time.
Do you feel you guys need to get more touches for Rankin? The last few weeks, his touches.
Okay, thank you.
He doesn't have his touches have been down a bit. Do you need to get him back and more involved?
I think game flow dictates that. I think defense dictates that. So it's kind of hard. You don't want to just keep running your head against a brick wall. I think there's other ways Rankin affects the game. Last week, he had a huge seam route for 50-something yards in the pass game. Like he does a lot in the pass game. Also, like if we can, like I said, if we can find a way to get him in a rhythm early. Sometimes if you have a couple negative runs early on, it's hard to call runs when you're like, oh man, well, last time we handed the ball off, we were second and long. So we'd rather just throw a quick game or rather throw a screen or rather do this. So game flow dictates that. We're hoping that get back on track now that we got some of our veteran guys back on the offensive line like we had early on in the year. You know, we've been kind of shuffling our offensive line, and sometimes the hardest thing is the run game because there's so much communication. The pass pro is always the pass pro, right? So when you plug and play a new offensive lineman, it's a little bit easier to dictate the pass game. Run game's a little bit more difficult, different fronts, different guys you got to work to. So we've had a little bit of that, and that's kind of, I think, the part of the reason our run game took a step back is just because the shuffling of the offensive line, having Beard back and having Cordy go back to the monster, Boyko coming into the game plan. Like those are veteran guys who have seen a lot of football. So I have a lot of confidence that our run game is going to get back going this week.
2 weeks in a row, you scored on your opening drive. You've been very effective early on with that. Any reason why you think that is, and how can you continue to be effective and get off to such a good start?
Yeah, I think honestly, it's just the way we prepare here. We prepare really well. We know what we're doing. We talk about our first 15, and those are usually plays you rep a lot. Sometimes on those short weeks, you can only rep so many plays, right? So we really emphasize starting fast and not putting ourselves in a hole. That's a big part of just a confidence thing too. When you get the ball on the opening kickoff, you drive the field and you score a touchdown, you go on the sideline, defense is fired up, special teams is fired up, offense is fired up. So it's just kind of like that flint that lights the fire. So for us, that's always the goal. It's always to go down the field. It's not like we're calling all of our best plays in the first series and then we don't have any more good plays. Like we have plenty of good plays. It's just sometimes you catch teams off guard in their first one and then they make adjustments and now they come out with a different defense. And that happened in the SAS game. Like they came out in the whole second half and really second quarter, they were just running after the lightning delay. They just had a bunch of different stuff that we hadn't seen on tape. So it kind of slowed us down a little bit. They were playing a lot more man coverage when all they showed was zone. They were playing guys way over the top, not allowing us to throw anything down the field. So sometimes it's just coaching and changing things on the sideline that helps us stay in rhythm from that opening drive.
And lastly, you mentioned that every game is going to be different. The one kind of consistent off and on has been the red zone. Last week, you could probably argue now, they were good in the red zone too, so you got to give them credit. But you guys got to the red zone a lot, right? You moved the ball really well until there. When you go over the film, is it just small things, Cody, that are missing? Is it execution? Is it a misread? What do you think is just the difference of improving that by a few percentage points?
Yeah, honestly, it's not one thing, which is I wish it was just one thing. We fixed it. It's like, oh, here we go. But to our credit, we're the number one team in getting in the red zone. I think we got 60-something trips down in the red zone. So what I think is a lot of it has to do with media. A lot of it has to do with people talking about it. So then a lot of our younger guys, they start tensing up. They start losing their composure a little bit in the red zone. And then you start trying to press or trying to force because everyone's talking, oh, you got to be better in the red zone. So then you just try so hard. And then like in open field, it's just your routine. You're going through your stuff, going through your reads, everything like that, myself included. You get down there and you want to just, oh, I want to score. We want to score. Everyone, we need to score to win. We need to score to win. And you put so much emphasis on it. And we talk about it every week. It's almost like it's hurting us at this point because there's so much emphasis. I told the guys, play free. The team that's the most composed in the red zone is usually the team that's going to, and that's myself included, is usually the team that's going to be successful. So for us, when we're trying to push or we're trying to do too much to cure those red zone blues or whatever you want to call it. We need to just keep our composure, do everything we did to get down there, and just play our ball. And I have a lot of confidence in our game plan going in this red zone. We've really simplified things, allowed us to play fast and just play free.
There you go. Cody Fajardo ready for the game tomorrow, 1:00 start, Edmonton time, and should be a doozy between the Elks and the Alouettes. Let's get to Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. And you know what? They're in such a giving mood, they've extended employee pricing for one more month. You pay what they pay. Great deal. Stop in, shop this weekend. Check out the Corvette showroom. Woo-hoo. You will enjoy it. NorthgateGM.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Weekend, the CFL rolling on tonight. Rough Riders and Red Blacks from Regina. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock tomorrow. A doubleheader. Edmonton in Montreal at 1. Then at 5 o'clock, BC and Hamilton. Major League Baseball today. Jays in action right now. Delay in Philadelphia. We'll join that game in progress immediately following the Jason Gregor Show at 6 o'clock. Elsewhere, Mets lead the Pirates 1-0 after the first. 2 other games underway, both delayed actually. Yankees, Braves, and Reds and Nationals. Later tonight, you got the Red Sox and the Athletics. Guardians in Chicago taking on the White Sox. Royals and Cubbies. The Orioles head to Texas. The Diamondbacks host the Dodgers, and the Rays in Seattle. The Athletics have made a change in their front office, announcing the departure of general manager David Forst earlier today. The A's currently sitting 45-70 in 4th place in the AL West, set to miss the playoffs for the 6th consecutive season. The Tennessee Titans have signed the left guard Pierce Bronski to a 4-year, $100 million contract, $88 million guaranteed. That makes him the highest paid guard in the NFL. And Canadian junior football this weekend. The Huskies host the Colts on Saturday at 7. Then on Sunday at 1 o'clock, Wildcats taking on Regina. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Alan Mitchell from the Lowdown with Lowetide. I'm Connor Halley. This has been the Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Attention Alberta construction pros. For over 50 years, Japa Equipment Rentals has been your go-to for top-notch equipment and stellar service. Whether you need rentals or expert maintenance, we've got you covered. Stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations today.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Employee pricing is back at Nisku Ford. Pay the same as Ford Motor Company employees. Plus, get the benefits of being a Nisku Ford customer. You'll have the best selection of new Ford vehicles from our great lineup of SUVs, from Bronco Sports and Explorers right up to the Ford Expedition, and Ford trucks from the Ford Maverick, Ranger, F-150, and Super Duty. Ford employee pricing is the biggest event on the Nisku Ford calendar. But hurry, it won't last forever, and inventory is limited. Take advantage of employee pricing today at Nisku Ford. Above expectations.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned. Over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit JapaEquipment.com or stop our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
Portions of this hour brought to you by 01 Hockeyology, Edmonton's home for elite hockey development, skating analysis, performance assessment, and year-round training at West Edmonton Mall. Elite hockey development at 01.ca. That's ZERONE.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday. The work week is done, boys and girls. Hope it was a good one for you. Hope an even better weekend for you. Busy weekend in football. Of course, MLB continues on the push for the playoffs. If you're a golf fan, you're watching, hey, do you want to make the cut for the playoffs? You got to finish in the top 70. So that's what's up for grabs this weekend in golf. It's a Gregor Show, is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only stop where you can get live dealer, casino, lottery, instance, all in one place at PlayAlberta.ca. Time now to get to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists, and they are hiring pipe layers, top men, and a superintendent. So you're looking for a great opportunity, go to gsconstruction.ca and check out careers for your opportunity to apply for them. They just listed looking for a new super. Who wouldn't want to be? Hey, what do you do? I'm a super. You're pretty awesome. You're superintendent at GS Construction. Let's get to Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet now. Spec, how you doing?
Do those guys ever hire like marshals? Like, could I just drive around in a golf cart when I'm older and just supervise that way like they do in the golf course?
I don't think they have a marshal at, but it's because basically got Turan as the owner. He's essentially the marshal. Just drives around. I'm not sure he does anything. He just drives around.
Well, yeah, you drive around by all the guys that are actually working, and you tell them to keep the pace. Hey, there's some guys getting a little close to you behind. You got to keep your pace up here.
Yeah, well, he's good. Like, he'll bring out water and make sure that they're nice and hydrated, right? Yeah,
I'd be good at that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Probably it's probably not cool to slip them beer, say, when they're working.
Probably not. Yeah, but it's 5 o'clock now. You could at the end of the shift, right? End of the shift, you could.
Hey, well, have Tran give me a call, will you?
Yeah, we'll see if they're looking for that. I know they're not looking for one right now, but if he wants to give up his job, I'll ask him.
Yeah, story of my life. We'll get back to you, Spec.
We'll get back to you, Spec. Just hold out hope. The opportunity's coming down the road. Just not sure when. Not sure when. A few things to get to. The green and gold, big game again, man. It's a fun part of the schedule here for Edmonton. Every game is big, and the Elks get Anderson back. They're getting Beard back at center. Montreal's got some key injuries on defense. Like, you're going into Montreal, man, you got to find a way to shut down Alexander. The problem is no one's figured out how to do that yet.
Yeah, their offense. I remember watching the game that Edmonton won in overtime here, and I was very impressed with their offense. Their offense just, they send like 4 guys out, and it seems like the Elks would cover 3 of them, and the 4th guy was wide open, and the quarterback knew exactly who to hit and when to hit them. And they're good. Like, they got a good system. They played it for a long time. They've had a lot of success with it. I'm sure that the defensive coordinators, Jay, they all have film and they all watched last week's game and the week before that. But I'd say to you that I'm not sure how many DCs are solving the problem when they play Montreal. You know what I mean? You can watch all the film you want. They still seem to load up on the yardage every week, don't they?
Oh God, yeah. Like Alexander, like Edmonton, he's yet to lose a regular season game in regulation. His only loss came in overtime against Edmonton. So, man, if they somehow were able to pull off a win in Montreal, it would be massive. Like they go in, they're the underdog. There's no question in my mind that they're probably a fairly significant underdog because winning in Montreal has been very hard to do and virtually impossible when Alexander starts.
Yeah, so there's a really good program, right? Like that's Montreal team. You know, I know crowds are down a little bit there, and I get it. Like it's not everything's perfect around that franchise, but I'll tell you what, the football operations is close to it. Like every year, Montreal is good. You don't see Montreal having the 1-7 starts. They're competitive every year. You know, they get to a big playoff game and win it or lose it, whatever. They're always there. So, you know, some props, right, to that organization. They have good players, good coaches, good management. You know, I would say to you that the Elks are trying to emulate what Montreal is, and that's a consistently high level year after year after year after year. And, you know, good for Montreal, man. Now you got to go in and try to beat them twice in the same season. That'd be a feather in your cap, wouldn't it?
Oh, God, yeah. It would be massive. And just, you know, it's even last night's game in the CFL, man. Like they continue to be highly entertaining football games, lots of offense. Last night there was lots of interceptions too. And, you know, I think Calgary's probably kicking themselves. When you're able to make 4 interceptions for your defense, you'd look and say, hey, offense, we got to punch the ball in a little bit more. They just kept settling for field goals. And that's ultimately what cost them at the end.
I don't know. I believe they had 5 turnovers in total, the Stampeders. Like they took 5 balls away from Toronto. I can't recall a game where you take 5 balls away and you don't win.
Yeah, it's rare.
Yes. The turnover battle, you know, we always talk football. You win the trenches, you got a better chance of winning. You win the turnover battle by that lopsided a margin. Like, I'll bet you, you know, go back and find a record book, but I'll bet you it's 92% that you win the game. So for Calgary to have that turnover performance that they had last night and not win, that's almost, it's kind of wasteful, right, Jay? It's a game you look back on and go, come on, how did we not win that game?
Oh, yeah, without question. They will be, you know, and Vernon Adams had his touchdown streak without an interception ended in that game last night. But they will be, they'll be frustrated because that was a game. They had the opportunities. They should have been able to win that game. More than ample opportunities for them. Now, speaking of winning games, hey, we talked about that Jays game yesterday a little bit, Spec, but I'm seeing more and more people who think the Screwball trade is going to be the final nail in the coffin, and that's going to punch the ticket for MLB and them to want to have. They're probably going to end up in a lockout. Whether they get a salary cap or not, history tells us that they probably will, because the owners can outlast the billionaire owners usually can outlast the millionaire players. Just kind of how it works. But what do you make of that? Do you agree with that was just the final, okay, we're done. There's no chance we're going to avoid something now because of LA. Now, I know people said, well, any team could have went out and got Screwball. Well, but here's the thing. And the argument is, well, everybody knew he was going to resign in LA anyway. But they're not the first team that will go out and pay a lot for a guy knowing they're not going to resign him. So I'm not sure I buy that argument either.
No, I think between what we've seen, you know, it starts with Shohei Ohtani, the ability to get that player and basically defer as much money as they have. Like that option's just not open to 85 to 95% of the MLB. It's only open to the Dodgers. Now they get the free agents they want. Now they get Screwball at the deadline. They win the World Series last year. I mean, I guess the only thing that could stop, I would think, Jay, and I'm not too educated on this, but I'm going to say to you that there's got to be 20 other major league owners that want a change here, that are looking at it and saying, we can't compete with these guys. There's got to be a big enough block of ownership to force change. Now, I guess the last thing is, if somebody goes out and beats the Dodgers out in the first round of the playoffs or the second round, maybe there's some fodder to say, see, it's not as bad as we think it is. If the Dodgers win the World Series again, don't you think that we're almost guaranteed some kind of a work stoppage next season?
Well, I think, yeah, win or lose, I think it's going to happen. If they win, it probably makes it a stronger of an argument. But the thing is, even if they lose once, if they make it all the way to the World Series, you just look and say, hey, like they're they're able to spend. Now, some would argue and say, hey, yeah, they're spending money. Other guys are too cheap. Because for a while there were some owners in the league who didn't care about fielding a competitive team because they still made money. And that is a valid concern to me. That's a valid concern where you're basically like, yeah, we can be losers and who cares because we still make lots of money. Right. And so
you don't want to be Pittsburgh, right? Pittsburgh's that team. Like, they just don't spend. And I've seen the argument out there where the Dodgers spend like 65% of their revenues on players, and a team like the Cubs only spends 52%, and that means that the Cubs should be able to do what the Dodgers do. And I don't know. Listen, like, I this is why I hate these lockouts, because it's a bunch of people driving home from hard-working jobs today in their truck, and they're listening to us talk about billionaires fighting millionaires for millions of dollars. Like, figure it out, you guys. Give us a league we can, give us a league where there's 30 franchises and maybe like 15 of them have a chance to win instead of 4. That's all I'm really looking for in my baseball. How about you?
Yeah. No, that's fair, right? You'd like to see some competitive teams. Like, that's why Milwaukee, I think, is a team that a lot of people root for, right? Like,
for sure.
They don't spend boatloads of money, but man, they got a pretty good team. But it's always hard. Yeah, it's hard at the end of the day if you have a really good roster, but then the other team just keeps, adding multiple superstars to their team. It's hard to beat them, right? Now, the Jays came close last year, and we could argue that if it wasn't for an odd ground rule double where the ball just lodges in the bottom, right, or a bad error, maybe they win that game, right? So who knows? But the Jays spent a ton of money too, so it's not like it was, one of the weaker teams in majors. It was just the Jays, who I think last year were like 4th or 5th in salary and are again this year. And look, it's not doing them any good. So you still have to have quality players to win.
Well, and you got to, sure, like, no one's saying the Dodgers aren't smart and they don't identify excellent players and they don't field, they develop some guys and they end up trading them away. But, like, the Dodgers are doing it right. It's just the economic might they have. It's not a fair fight. Like, I just always go back to our experience in Edmonton back in the 90s when Colorado and Dallas and Detroit ruled the West because their salary expenditure was in the 60 and 70 millions, and Edmonton was in like the low 20s or 19 or something, right? And I just remember how hard Edmonton used to play against those teams and take them to the wall and never win, because in the end they just didn't have a chance. The other team was they had 3 times the salary that you had, and it was just no fun. That's all. I guess I'm just saying, if I'm Kansas City, if I'm Milwaukee, if I'm one of these little smaller places, San Diego puts a good team together. The Angels never do. If I'm one of those fan bases, it's just not much fun. That's all. I just want to go to the ballpark and think my team has a chance. That's all I'm looking for. And if I have to be a fan of the Cubs or the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Red Sox, and after that, it's hard to find a team to cheer for because I'm probably not going to win, that's not any fun, is it?
No, it is not, for sure. I don't know if you saw it, Spec. Taylor Hall had his day with the Stanley Cup. And, it's interesting, drafted 2010, first overall, and, 16 years later wins the Stanley Cup, and then he gets a day with the Cup. And I talked to Taylor. He was pretty excited about it, and, just had family and friends, was out in his boat and joked about finally getting his boating license after failing it a few times. But, you look at Hall's career with the Stanley Cup, like some people ask, do you think it puts him in the Hall of Fame discussion later on when he's said and done?
Geez, I don't know. I mean, he won a Hart Trophy.
Yeah.
Being first overall doesn't have any bearing.
No, that doesn't do much.
No. I mean, listen, I think Taylor, I love his story and his perseverance. He's had injuries. He's moved around. Being number 1 overall and having the keys handed to you when you were too young to be ready for it, he dealt with that really well, and it was hard and unfair, frankly, right? The pressure put on him in Edmonton without the means to deliver. Like, he didn't have a team around him here. He handled it really well. Us media guys spent a lot of time at his locker after losses, and he never said the wrong thing. He never blamed other people. He took responsibility. I got so much time for Taylor Hall, man. I love the fact that he won the Cup, and I saw some stuff on social today that pictures of him, and it just it kind of warms your heart, right? Everyone in Edmonton's looking for a Stanley Cup, and I know how bad people want it, but it sure was nice to see Taylor Hall have one. So all of that said, I don't think he's going in the Hall of Fame, but I don't mean to demean him in any way.
No.
He's had a hell of a career. He's a really good person. Now he's a father, got a couple kids, he's got a Stanley Cup ring. God bless him, but good for him. Good for Taylor Hall. I couldn't be happier for him.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Like Hall of Fame, you got to, you know what? He had a few seasons like it. He'd be a guy on the border and on a cusp, but I think it'd probably be tough at the end of the day to get in. We'll see.
Yeah, I say so.
Spec, have yourself an awesome evening, and we will chat with you on Monday.
All right. Sounds good, Jake.
There you go. That's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. Quick break. LT joins us on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Your weekend hotspot is at On the Rocks.
Party with Edmonton's best bands every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And we got them all.
From Farkells to Tallboy, Radioactive, Curves, The Brute Squad, Morningwood, Rockzilla, Punch Buggy, and more.
Plus, the guy who keeps the party going every weekend. DJ Kenny K on the ones and twos, live.
Get ready to have a good time this weekend.
Your bar, your party. You're On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Just Jasper Ave and 118th.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
Come on down to the Brick. The Price is Right live event is on now. Enter in-store for your chance to instantly win from over $1 million in prizes. No purchase necessary. Then shop incredible savings throughout the store, like up to $2,220 off select sectionals, up to 40% off select mattresses, up to 20% off select major appliances, and up to $600 off big screen TVs. Plus, finance with 0% interest and equal monthly payments on qualifying purchases. Hurry in before these offers end August 12th. The Brick, saving you more.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice. EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365. UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking. Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service. Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project. Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Everything is going to be okay. If your debt has you feeling like you're in a free fall, you have options. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. Becoming debt-free is possible, and a personal bankruptcy or consumer proposal will get you there. Schedule your free Faber Focus session at faber.ca today. You'll learn how a consumer proposal allows you to eliminate your debt by paying a percentage of the amount owed without interest. At Faber, we'll tackle your debt.
Hey, hon, I'm getting expressions and images to frame my hockey card collection in the man cave.
Perfect. I'll come with you and bring our wedding photos.
For sports memorabilia and family treasures, think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
Not sure what wheels fit your vehicle? Evolve Wheels and Tires gives you honest advice from enthusiasts who know fitment inside and out. Whether it's your truck, SUV, or sports car, they have you covered. Evolve Wheels and Tires, Edmonton's premium wheel specialists. Evolve your ride. Evolve your experience.
Does your bank do local? We do. When you bank with Vision Credit Union, you're banking with a rural Albertan cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, volunteerism, local team and event sponsorships, and by returning millions in profit shares to our members every year. Does your bank do that? We do local. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Rolling through a positive Friday. Well, positive can tell you that rain delays all over the place in MLB, New York, Washington, Philadelphia, all those games currently delayed in MLB. Tonight, if the Jays game gets going, we'll have it right here at the conclusion of our show. So enjoy that. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. It's the Gregor Show, always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Lotto Max, $25 million tonight. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. As time now to get to the oil report, brought to you by Go Auto. Cars, vans, trucks, SUVs, you name it. They got it. Over 17,000 vehicles to choose from at 73 different locations. Find one near you at GoAuto.ca. As the host of the Lowdown, Alan Mitchell joins us. LT, good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm very well. I'm loving the weather. I mean, I've seen a few leaves turn, but it's really nice, and the river's gone down, and I think the monsoon season is over, and maybe we can get some warm weather and get back to something resembling normal here for August and then into September.
Yeah, that's fair. Hey, Al, do you have a go-to movie that you watch once a year or multiple times?
Yeah, I do. I have several. I'm a big fan of Shawshank Redemption. I love that show. For me, it's just, I know it's not a comedy or anything, but I love the show. I guess I'm binge watching old time TV shows like 6 Feet Under and things like that, and I'm getting ready for Only Murders in the Building again. But I would say that if I was going to watch a movie like at particular times of year, I'd say probably Godfather 1 and 2 and Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. That's fair. I like both of those. I'm just curious. Is there a movie that you would never watch again?
Sophie's Choice.
Oh, wow.
It was a really tough movie to watch. It just was. There's some movies that are tough, like Dog Day Afternoon's a tough movie to watch, but I like watching that. And I love watching rom-coms. Like I love When Harry Met Sally. I love Moonstruck. Love all of those. But the more serious movies, I have to kind of build up to them, right? Like I just can't, like Casino is a movie that I love to watch, but I would only watch it when I'm mentally prepared to watch it.
All right. For years, people had to be mentally prepared to watch the Elks because they weren't that good. But now they're competitive, Al, very competitive. And they go into Montreal tomorrow afternoon, 1:00 start Edmonton time, with an opportunity to sweep the Owls and more importantly, stay ahead of Saskatchewan, who I assume is going to win tonight against Ottawa.
Yeah, even with all the injuries the Rough Riders have, specifically to the receiving core, that should be a free square on the bingo card for them. And really, the all the questions that we had at the beginning of the year, and even when they were playing in the regular season, drop footballs by receivers and consistency here and there, they've really answered them. I just have to say that no matter what happens from here to the end of the year, Elks have really shown something. They're one of the 3 best teams in the league. You could argue they're the best. And they, if they beat Montreal tomorrow, then, you can't get much better than that. And they're 1-1 against the Rough Riders, but very close games both times. Could have won both of them. So I just feel like, I know it's a 9-team league and things can turn around like immediately, but this Elks team didn't have a really good story to tell forever. Now they do. And I'll tell you, like, I got a lot of buddies who were big time, fans of the Eskimos and the Edmonton Football Club. And like it was years between people talking about like the team. Like, people say to me, my buddies say, Fajardo's having a hell of a year. I didn't know he was this good. So it's back being part of the conversation. And for me, that's a thrill because I love the CFL and I want to see this team do very well. And they are.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No question about it. They're good. They're going to have to become a little bit more disciplined though. You want to play on the edge. You want to be super aggressive, but it's an area for me where I think they got to be a little bit more composed at key times.
Yeah, and that there are teams. Hamilton traditionally for me has been a team that always has somebody who's taking ridiculous penalties, and you can lose football games doing that. You really can, and you work so hard to get in a particular situation, and there's some of them like offside or holding or whatever. Man, they can be really tough. And then personal fouls obviously are verboten. There's no excuse for it. But I think I love their passion. I love they hit hard and they play hard. But you're right. You want to be able to do everything you can to win a football game.
Yes. And speaking of the Riders, Al, lots of injuries in the receiving corps. Any concern for your squad?
No, I feel like the Rough Riders are in one of those zones right now where they won last year. They could easily win this year. I don't know that they will, but they have real talent. I pay attention to the Canadian talent on CFL teams, and there was a time when they had offensive linemen from Gull Lake and Melfort up up everywhere, and that's where they had their starting Canadians, and they still do a little bit, but they're skill guys now. Their Canadian skill guys have been exceptional here for a while now, and it's fun to watch because I like to watch the Canadians do well. And even though they're all on the injured list for Saskatchewan this week, they've got some really talented guys there.
Yeah, very true. Al, I know you follow baseball very closely. And I was on holidays earlier, so I want to ask you. The trade deadline came and went, and Scuba went to the Dodgers, and everyone's like, "Oh, the rich get richer." And a lot of people felt like, okay, that'll be the final nail. That's gonna for sure guarantee that they're gonna get to a lockout. Now, I don't know if one move would do that or not. Other teams could have rented him. Lots of teams have rented a guy knowing they're not going to sign him again, so they wouldn't be the first team to do that. So I'm not sure I buy the argument. Well, no teams wanted to bid on him because they knew he was going to sign in LA. In the offseason. Well, first of all, we don't know that 100%, and maybe he would have, but where do you come out on this? Do you think that helps it, or it's kind of a fait accompli, regardless of what was going to happen? We are going to have a stoppage next year.
Well, the people who are follow this closer than I do, but I read them and listen to them. They tell me that there will be a lockout, but there are a lot of mid owners who really will get antsy because they're not like the Dodgers or the Yankees or whomever. They need the revenue. They need bums in seats. So I don't think it's going to be a long-term one. And I don't know that they're going to get any kind of a salary cap or any of those things. I think that if you look at how much the Dodgers are taxed and they'll pay the tax. They pay an enormous amount of money just in luxury tax. It's really hard to overcome that, and the balance of the league is way out of whack, and the owners believe salary cap will take care of that, but the players don't believe the owners are being honest about how much revenue they make and how much should and will be shared. So there's a lot of distrust, always has been, and if I'm making a prediction now, there'll be a lot of anger, a lot of verbal over the winter. There'll be a lockout, and then by May long, there'll be a season, and it'll be 120 games.
120. I like it. And, hey, how about David Forst? 27 years gone as the Athletics GM. You don't see that very now. They had years where they never spent any money, and I know it's been 6 years since they've been in the postseason. I was just stunned that he's been there for 27 years.
Well, yeah, and it's a good point. And on top of that, they've drafted some really good players. They're in this ridiculous ballpark where the pitchers, Luis Severino signed there, and he immediately regretted it. A very good free agent pitcher, and it's just a bandbox, right? So if you're a pitcher, your ERA could be like 6.5, and you're a good pitcher. So, like, they got to get out of it. I think they got one more year after this one in Sacramento. But the problem isn't necessarily even the ballpark where they're like in Vegas. It's altitude, right? So I don't know. Like, the PCL is full of ballparks that are high altitude and home runs galore. I don't know how they're going to get around that. Oakland had a gigantic foul zone, like foul area, so there was a little equalization there. But the problem the Athletics are going to have is, as long as they're in that ballpark, no matter how many good pitchers you have, they're never going to be able to pitch well enough consistently because the ball flies out of there. So, I think they got to get to a ballpark that's more reasonable. Colorado kind of has that problem too, right, in Denver. But I think Sacramento's the worst park for pitchers in the league.
Oh, God, yeah. Now, well, eventually they're going to be going to Vegas, right? I would assume. Who knows? Although that's like the longest relocation, the history of relocations in pro sports. So we'll have to see where it goes from there. Al, enjoy it quickly. I wrote an article about Howard and Savoy and, playing and how Mike Babcock might use them. I know you're scouring everything on the internet. And when you look at it, like I used Hoodler and Filppula when they were winning the Cup in 2008 as similar comparisons, just because, they played 16, 13 minutes. Hoodler was the third highest scoring forward on the team. Do you see room for both in the top 9 this year for the Oilers? And do you think it happens?
I do. I just think that people have to, they have to kind of just touch the brakes a little bit on panicking about Mike Babcock. He doesn't know these players well, especially the young players like Ike Howard, but he's going to get to know them. So they might not. Remember, Savoy was on the 4th line in penalty killing a year ago. And then in January, he started moving up the depth chart. Something like that could happen for Howard. And Babcock, he line matches a little more. So at home, he might be able to get a little easy street for one of those guys, and that will help. And all you really want is 30 games for these guys to get acclimated, and then they're going to be, not on their way, but they're going to be no longer pure rookies. And the Oilers need these guys. They're not young in some important spots, and Savoy and Howard have skill. I don't know if both are going to make it. I think Savoy will, but if Howard doesn't, they'll cash him. Yeah, but if Howard doesn't, they'll cash him for something else. But they need him. They're going to invest in him this year because they have to. Hyman's 34. Nuge has got to be close to that, and those are great players. They really are. But they're not going to be playing at 40. So you got to have these young guys coming up. And Howard and Savoy have draft pedigree and have high skill. There are some things about Howard that I wonder about. Honestly, I think as a shooter, I don't know how close he has to be to the net to score. Some guys can just score from range. I was talking about Evander Kane earlier today when he was a young player, and even when he first came to Edmonton before that wrist injury, man, he could score from forever. Like way out, he could score from. I don't know. From what I've seen of Howard, I don't know that I'm not saying he's going to have to be Zach Hyman, but he's going to have to score from closer than an Evander Kane, and we're going to see that. We're going to see if he can get into those tough areas, be patient, find open ice, and score goals. That's what I want to see. He scored a bunch in the minors. He has that skill, but can he play in the NHL in a role that allows him to be physically tough enough and not of a perimeter player? Can he do that? That's a question I have, and I think Mike Babcock will find out, and then we'll find out based on how much he plays.
Al, have yourself a spectacular weekend. Enjoy all the football, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
You too, sir. Enjoy.
There you go. That's the Lowdown Brock. Al Mitchell. Oil Report brought to you by Go Auto. We'll take a quick break and wrap things up here on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Tap into the fun of Play Alberta's most popular casino games. From the fast-paced spins of Cash Eruption to the retro thrills of Sevens Wild, online excitement is always at your fingertips. Spin through your choice of popular slots or discover Alberta-exclusive games you won't find anywhere else. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your #1 air conditioning company. So when you can't take living in oppressive heat any longer, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If your hot, sticky sheets keep you up all night, call Legacy. If you've decided that you deserve to be cool and comfortable, call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no payments, no interest for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
It's cone season at McDonald's, which means vanilla cones are $1 each plus tax in the McDonald's app all summer long. Soft, creamy, and crunchy. For just $1 each plus tax exclusively in the McDonald's app. App download and registration required at participating McDonald's in Canada.
Sleep is for the off-season. What off-season? Sports 1440 is live, loud, and locked 24/7. Oilers, Elks, Riverhawks, Stingers, Oil Kings. We've got your picks. Edmonton's home for sports is Sports 1440.
Hey, Edmonton, thinking about your next SUV? Think Subaru. The Subaru Forester has earned an IIHS top safety pick or higher for 20 years in a row. Add legendary Subaru symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and the 2026 JD Power Canada Best Residual Value Award among compact SUVs, and you've got an SUV that's built to protect today and hold its value tomorrow. This month, take advantage of loyalty rates as low as 0.99%. Come test drive the Forester at your local Subaru dealership today. Welcome to Uncommon.
Does your bank do local? We do. When you bank with Vision Credit Union, you're banking with a rural Albertan cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, volunteerism, local team and event sponsorships, and by returning millions in profit shares to our members every year. Does your bank do that? We do local. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at Cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger wrapping up the show today as Jason took off. Should be a fun weekend in our city. Of course, lots going on. Folk Festival. You know, you're watching the Elks game tomorrow, 1 o'clock. I'll be down at Castlewood Pub for the official watch party if you want to come down and watch with me. Prizes, food and drink specials, good times galore. It'll be a great one. Elks and Owls. I will take a look into the depth chart here for the team with Declan Kruger in a second, but little debate here with Brad. And I had the Broncos as my number 2 NFL defense. Gregor had 1. Now, Declan, I want to get your thoughts on this one as well, because when I look at the defense, and Brad brings up a very good point, how many more sacks did the Broncos have than the Texans? A lot. Like the Broncos ran away with sacks. But that to me doesn't really matter if the points against and the yardage is similar. Plus, see ball, get ball. The Broncos had half the turnovers that the Texans defense had. So if we're talking, fantasy and sacks get you a lot of points, heck yeah, Brad. That's fantastic. But I'm going to lean towards the Texans defense this year. Plus, they upgraded. Broncos, I think, lost some pieces. They lost another guy today, torn Achilles. He missed last year with the Achilles injury as well. One of their kind of depth defensive linemen. That's brutal to hear. But fantasy, you have one of these defenses, you're laughing. If you're a Broncos or a Texans fan, I think you're laughing as well. They both have pretty incredible groups going on there. The Broncos, they get tested a little bit. Mike McDaniel in the offense now, running it for the Chargers. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, they'll have some tricks up their bag. For the Raiders, who they'll see twice a year, a little bit easier. I mean, hey, the Raiders are fighting already, but Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, I think should be tough. Texans going up against Trevor Lawrence twice a year, Jonathan Taylor. The Titans, we're not quite sure about. I think some people are high on Cam Ward to bounce back this upcoming season. But hey, we had NFL football last night. We've got some more coming up next weekend, Deck. It's a good time of year. And the Edmonton Elks right now, just looking at their depth chart getting set up for tomorrow's game against the Owls. Now, Cordell Jackson, game time decision. Joel DeBlanco, game time decision. But listed as the starters on the depth chart. Good sign. I think we assume they are good to go tomorrow.
It's certainly looking like that. Joel DeBlanco especially. The biggest one for me on the line is that right guard spot that had been a bit of a carousel since Coulter Wood-Manzi went out. Joseph Cooper last week and Cam Carter before that, both in getting time at the position. Brett Boyko is going to be playing right guard. Now, when he was in earlier this season, he was at the left guard spot. Obviously, Carter O'Donnell back for that. Brett Boyko shifting over to the right guard, and Joseph Cooper, Cam Carter both back to the practice squad. So very interested to see. This is the first time we've seen this combination on the line this season.
Yeah.
Very interested to see how it's going to play out.
I'm with you. I'm intrigued by it. They got to get the run game going and get some big chunk plays like we had seen previously. Nick Anderson back in the lineup, David Beard, Tyshawn Blackburn in the defensive backfield. Royce Mechie comes out. Where are we on Royce Mechie? Because he was kind of one of the bigger name free agents we saw come over last year from the Argos. Had the Achilles. We knew it immediately when we saw that injury, and I think he was kind of he was in, I don't know, a good place with it. It seemed like. But what have you seen from Royce Mechie? I mean, is it? It's a huge injury.
Huge. He was a very good player when healthy. He was a legitimate pencil him in no matter what starting safety when he was healthy. They say you can't lose your job to injury, but we got to quit saying that, because how many times do we see guys lose their job to injury? And not like Jalen Garnes came in and has just been outstanding. Most outstanding rookie nominee for this team last year, has been a staple of that secondary this year. How have we talked about Jalen Garnes in a negative light at all this season?
No.
I mean, I'm sure he's had some moments, as has everyone, but it's not like a week after week. Boy, we got to upgrade that safety position.
He might not even get enough talk.
Yeah, probably not. I've said this about that DB group. I don't think Kobe Williams got enough credit for how good he has been. I know on the depth chart, Leonard will start over him. He'll come in as the designated American. But Jalen's another guy who doesn't get talked about because of Tyrell Ford and Cordell Jackson and JJ Ross. Just really, really, really solid. Can come play low. He can roam freely. He can cover that middle third. Just a really, really, really versatile safety. But Royce he had spent some time on special teams. It had looked it looked almost like a favor. It was hey, we're getting you out there on the field in some capacity after the injury. You know what I mean? And he's sent back down now. So I don't know what the future looks like for him. But I couldn't imagine, I don't know I couldn't see him coming off of that injury with the way Jalen Garnes is playing, taking that job back anytime soon.
I'm with you. And I think you bring up a very good point. You can't lose your job to injury. I mean,
you can.
That might be true in some sports, but in what kind of injury?
Yeah.
Because if you have an Achilles.
If your safety was an Achilles tear.
Yeah.
I think I'll actually take the equally as good safety without an Achilles tear. You know what I mean?
And how old is Royce Mechie?
I don't think he's that
still
old.
He's 29. He'll be 30 this year. Jeez, we hate that number 30 in football. Comes with a negative connotation there. But yeah, it's okay, if someone slides into your spot and plays better, you can't be loyal. You have to do what's better for the team. Otherwise, you're just hurting the rest of the guys.
He is Canadian, which is always going to bode in his favor. If it gets to that point, but it hasn't got to that point. And obviously, he's they must feel he's just not near 100%.
Yeah, and that would kind of be it. Do we need you? No, rest up a little bit more here. What did you think about Cody Fajardo? We heard the conversation with Jason Gregor, and he talked about the red zone and kind of saying, well, yeah, it's being brought up, and it might be having a bit of the conversation around it might be maybe leaking into the locker room, guys tensing up. I like the answer from my quarterback, but I don't know how much I believe that. If that's what you're hearing and that's changing things, we got a problem. I play calling to me has been kind of an issue getting into the red zone, but I mean, I think it's correctable. You just got to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't have too much issue with the play calling for this team as a whole, but I have a huge issue with their red zone play calling. Like, to my eye, Jordan will call like obviously the red zone is different than the rest of the field, so this is going to sound like kind of a captain obvious statement, but he calls such a different game in the red zone. It's like everything he does that got him to the dance from in between the 20 to in between the 20, he abandons, and some of that is true. You have to do it because it is a different part of the field, but it's just so what's the phrase I'm looking for? Maybe you can help me out here. I don't want to say sloppy because that's definitely not it, but it's like a mixture of safety and nervousness is how he calls plays in the red zone. Like, he doesn't want to do anything too crazy.
Cautious.
But it's like, yeah, like he does, but it's not, I wouldn't even call it cautious because he doesn't want to call something too outrageous, but then he also doesn't want to call something too safe. Like, there probably is no way to truly describe how I'm talking about how he calls the offense in the red zone. But I hope you're arriving at the same point I'm at with how you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Like, there's times I've really liked it, like when it's like, okay, I'm gonna give Austin Mack a chance. Like, it's not always my favorite play. Like, throwing it up there rather than the end zones are big. If you can move around, and I think we've seen it in the past where number 11.
Keon.
He's been a great red zone target. He finds the open space. Things like that. I think they can find ways to work. Heck, I like the screen pass to Javon Leak that one.
Yep.
I
think some of their best red zone offense comes out of that double back set. Like, I just think it opens it opens so much horizontally as well on the field. Like,
if you're playing half or safety and you see both those running backs, like, are you not kind of creeping up a little?
Oh, for sure.
One of these guys is very dynamic, and if he gets the ball, I got to lean a little bit closer there, and could open things up in the back of the end.
And a lot of their play action too comes with Javon Leak, or a lot of the plays they've had play action success with has come with Javon Leak out of the backfield. And I just don't know why we seem to get away from that in the red zone. And like, again, I really want to try and wrap this up for the listeners, because I know there's some listeners out there who are banging their head being like, what is this kid talking about? What is he trying to say with the red zone play calling? It's like, he calls safe plays aggressively, and he calls aggressive plays safely in the red zone. That's maybe the best way I can sum it up.
Give me, if you can, an example of like a play call that stands out to you that you're trying to like describe here.
Okay, so like for like an example would be like a 1st and 10, a 1st and goal from the 10-yard line. Like, I think conventional wisdom with a running back with like Justin Rankin is you hand him the ball, you probably try to get to the outside hash, you run a stretch play or something like that. He'll like do that, but it will be, instead of it being the C gap with a pulling guard, it will be into the B gap with a fullback in motion or something like that. So the idea is there, but it's almost gone about the wrong way.
So instead of running it outside with a guard pulling over, we're running it inside with a fullback.
And that's just like, now, Grant, like, and
when I see a fullback Declan in motion, I'm thinking run.
Yeah.
So you can kind of cheat.
Right? Like, and it's just other thing. And then like an aggressive play call, it might be schemed up that we have, 3 guys in the back of the end zone, but the second read, the second progression is a curl route that's still 2 yards short of the goal line. Mm-hmm. And because, of pressure in the red zone from the opposing defense, you're forced to go to that second progression. And it's like, well, why did we scheme up those other 3? If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wish I had a whiteboard. I could do this a lot better with a whiteboard.
Do you and Eddie have the whiteboard yet?
Yeah, we don't.
No,
we don't.
We got to get you guys a whiteboard for Elks Nation and just have him draw up things. Then you draw things up as well. Well, Declan, the music means we're done for the week. What are you doing tomorrow?
Well, I hate to say, because it got such a bad rep on the show today, but I will be attending Folk Fest. Elks Owls, of course. Super excited for that game. Litmus test for the Edmonton Elks. I still have them number 1 in the CFL Power Rankings, but it can change this weekend.
Should be a very fun one. A big thank you to all of our guests. We had Dave Naylor, Nick Hamilton, James Nichols, Eddie Steele, Speck, and Lowetide. If you missed it, go check the podcast. Coming up next, hopefully Blue Jays baseball. Hopefully they get this thing going. The rain becoming a little bit of a concern, but Fox Sports Radio all weekend long. Enjoy it. Right now, I'll get to a Sports 1440 update. Deck, who's presenting this bad boy?
Yeah, brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. For your next move in the Edmonton or area, you can call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Week 10 of the CFL gets going in about an hour from Regina. Riders Red